Chapter 639. This power had been left behind by Wan Senshi to prevent Jing Fanxing from being killed or used by others. In the end, Gu Chunsha and Immortal Master Wan clashed. Buddha's suppression, Permitha Golden Mountain. At this time, Gu Chunsha galvanized the power of his dimensional realm and linked up with the endless space and time. Through the Buddha statue of the Human Dragon Association, the release bow, and the constant and impermanence arrows, he was able to sense the Permitha Golden Mountain in the depths of space and time. The Permitha Golden Mountain was the headquarters of the Buddhist sect. Even though the Buddha was dead, there were definitely many big shots of the Buddhist sect still there. The Buddhist sect's arrangements were still very powerful and deep. This time, Gu Chunsha wanted to use the Buddhist sect to deal with Wan Senshi again. His will spread out, big shots of the ancient Buddhist sect. I have found a good believer for you. It is Jing Fanxing. Not only does he have fate, but he also has the potential to become a saint. He also controls the huge Holy Sama Empire. If you really convert him, you can spread the faith of the Buddhist sect in the desert and the Buddhist sect can return to the world. This is a very profitable thing. Practice with me and suppress Wan Senshi. I believe that with the power of the Buddhist sect working together with me, we can definitely destroy the chess piece that is Wan Senshi. Gu Chunsha was negotiating with the Buddhist sect. Jing Fanxing was an important person to the Buddhist sect. If the Buddhist sect could obtain him, they could immediately make the Holy Sama Empire believe in the Buddhist sect. In the blink of an eye, it would become a Buddhist kingdom, and they would receive a large amount of faith power. That way, the development of the Buddhist sect would be equivalent to establishing a foundation in the land of infinity. More importantly, Jing Fanxing was a natural saint. Gu Chunsha did not want to use his own power to deal with Wan Senshi, so he had to use the Buddhist sect. More importantly, the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows were the ultimate treasures of the Buddhist sect. They were the origin of the Buddhist sect, and the power of the Buddhist sect could be used as a medium to unleash the greatest effect. As expected, after obtaining Gu Chunsha's will, the Buddhist sect was inexplicably moved. A golden light pierced through the endless world and the void, descending on the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. It turned into a huge Buddhist light that actually suppressed the power that Wan Senshi had exploded out. The Buddhist sect clearly wanted to obtain Jing Fanxing and make him their believer. The Buddhist sect clearly wanted to obtain Jing Fanxing and make him their believer. He believed that the Buddhist sect would definitely not be able to resist this temptation. Jing Fanxing had already been promoted to have the potential of a saint. The Buddhist sect needed such a talent, and Jing Qiu had set up in the desert of the Holy Sama Empire for many years. It was far away from the Middle-earth, and it was just the right place to develop the country and civilization of the Buddhist sect. What Gu Chunsha needed was to destroy Immortal Master Wan's chess piece. No matter how strong Wan Senshi was, if he wanted to deal with the mysterious Buddhist sect and the medium-class world that Gu Chunsha had activated, it would not be easy. Perhaps Wan Senshi had more power, but it was not worth it to fight the Buddhist sect and the Department of Tranquility over a small chess piece like Jing Fanxing. Moreover, Wan Senshi's main focus was probably on scheming against the Dharma saint. Gu Chunsha seized this opportunity to catch Wan Senshi off guard. This was where Gu Chunsha's brilliance came from. As the saying went, he could drive the tiger to devour the wolf. He used all kinds of strategies to perfection. Absorb, devour. Just as the Buddhist sect's power suppressed Wan Senshi's, Gu Chunsha had already targeted the Tao-seeking painting on Jing Fanxing. He activated the power of the medium-class world and swept it through the air. The Tao-seeking painting was wrapped up by his power and sent into the medium-class world. Then, the vast power of the medium-class world rushed into the Tao-seeking painting. In an instant, Gu Chunsha understood one of the supreme mysteries of the painting. This painting was not a connate numinous treasure, but one that Wan Senshi had refined himself. The most valuable part was the world tree. The world tree was an imitation of the primordial tree, and Wan Senshi's understanding of the primordial tree had been integrated into it. This kind of knowledge was even more nourishing to Gu Chensha. So that's how it is, that's how it is. In an instant, Gu Chensha had already obtained the refinement method of the world tree and Wan Senshi's philosophy. So this is how Wan Senshi views the primordial tree. He is observing it from a completely different angle. This person is truly an invincible existence. His understanding is so profound that it makes my understanding of the wish tree completely different. Absorb, transform. He laughed heartily. The wish tree absorbed the world tree and the Tao-seeking painting. Gu Chensha quickly calculated in his heart. Change. He started to transform his own strength once more. 10,000 destruction. After the wish tree absorbed the Tao-seeking painting and the world tree, it changed once more. Wish tree, turn into the world tree. Gu Dusha roared out loud. The tree expanded once more and the god of wishes above it evolved again and again. Waves of strength spread into the dimensional realm, causing many materials and spatial faults to appear within the dimensional realm. Not only were the changes more abundant, but the strength within was also purified by a great deal. Kill. As the dimensional realm's tree of hope transformed into a true world tree, Gu Chensha's cultivation rapidly changed and rose again and again. The Tao he perceived was simply incomparable to before. Immediately, he comprehended the 26 transformations of the Tao realm. 10,000 techniques returned to one. All of the cultivation techniques, principles, and various other comprehensions were gathered together, seemingly turning into a single one, the one true self. Under the powerful pressure of the medium-class world, the 10,000 destruction rod shattered. It fused into Gu Chensha's body and became one with him. At this moment, because of the wish tree's transformation, the dimensional world turned into the world tree. Its essence energy was stable and it revolved nimbly. It provided Gu Chensha with a huge amount of power. Let alone the 10,000 destruction rod, even if the god of strength came, he would be turned to dust. Inject. At this moment, his cultivation level had increased and he had obtained what he wanted. He activated the medium-class world and injected it into the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. Immediately, the bow and arrow shone brightly. It combined with the power of the Buddhist sect and suppressed Wan Senshi's power. Then, Gu Chensha swept and absorbed Wan Senshi's power into the medium-class world. At this moment, a Buddhist light shone from Jing Fanqing's body. It was as if he had truly comprehended the mysteries of the Buddhist sect and had become a member of the Buddhist sect. Not bad, not bad. Gu Chensha knew that he had to leave Jing Fanqing to the Buddhist sect. This was also part of his plan with the Buddhist sect. It was impossible not to give Jing Fanqing some benefit. Now, the Buddhist sect could rely on Jing Fanqing's management to turn the Holy Samar Empire into a Buddhist kingdom. As for Jing Qiu, no matter how strong he was not strong enough to compete with a colossus like the Buddhist sect. Naturally, Jing Fanqing would take all the fruits of his labor. With the Buddhist sect supporting Jing Fanqing, what would he be able to do in the desert? Gu Chensha was looking forward to it. Rumble. Gu Chensha put away the release bow and the constant and impermanence arrows. He found that he still could not refine them. With the input of the Buddhist sect, the bow and arrow seemed to have recovered its strength. Moreover, there was still a great deal of room for growth. He put it back into his body, and with a move of his body, he left. Jing Fanqing's matter was left to the Buddhist sect to handle. Immortal Master Wan had probably sensed the situation, and who knew what countermeasures he would come up with. At this moment, in the common people's wish sphere, Chang Weiyang, Tai Xuandu, Ji Qinggu, Wenhong, and Zhuge Ye were all within it. They sat under the Tree of Wishes and watched as the huge Tree of Wishes began to change. Majestic wills seeped into it. The Tree of Wishes devoured the path-seeking picture, and the small world tree within was refined. Then, the tree of wishes turned into a true world tree. Then, another ball of energy flew in. That was the energy that Wan Senshi had left in Jing Fanqing's body. It was wrapped up and seemed unwilling to give up. Instead, it wanted to corrode and refine the world tree and the medium dimension. Let's work together and suppress Wan Senshi. From this ball of energy, we can obtain many secrets and information about Wan Senshi. Zhuge Ye's eyes flashed. The few magnates immediately started their cultivation. Wan Senshi wanted to use this ball of energy to plunder a medium dimension. That was wishful thinking. Far away, in the turbulence of time and space, Wan Senshi and the Immortal Master were sitting. Between them, a storm was brewing. This storm was to be used against the Dharma Saint. Suddenly, Wan Senshi opened his eyes. What? Was the pawn you laid out destroyed by that brat Gu Chensha? The Immortal Master calculated, and everything was within his grasp. He could not help but nod. His eyes were filled with surprise. Good move, good move. He actually joined forces with the Buddhist sect to reap the benefit. Your pawn was even stolen by the Buddhist sect. Your Tao-seeking diagram and the essence of the minor world tree were all refined by him. He became familiar with your cultivation base and techniques, and even strengthened his dimensional realm. In this exchange of blows, you've lost just a little bit. That's not necessarily true. Wan Senshi's tone was very calm. These little fellows are very greedy. They actually want to absorb my energy. This is the condensation of my own essence. If they absorb it, it is tantamount to leaving behind a hidden danger. In the future, sooner or later, I will take their medium dimension. This is all within my calculations. Chapter 640. Wan Hong. Immortal Master Wan frowned. If it weren't for the distortion of the heavenly Tao and the great change, he would be the master of the divine central continent, the son of destiny, and wield great power. He wouldn't just be an ancient son of heaven. He might even be the founder of the future era, enjoying the immortal throne. Unfortunately, the heavenly Tao changed, and he was reduced to an ordinary saint. Now that the divine prefecture has erupted, his fortune is rising steadily, and we can't ignore him. Unfortunately, he's extremely cunning, and we can't catch him. Don't even think about capturing him. He has become a saint after all, and he is working with the calming immortal department. With the protection of the dimensional realm, it will be difficult to deal with him. The Immortal Master said, wait until he cultivates a minor kiliacosm, then he will have some capital to escape. Right now, if the Tai mystical sect, the Heavenly Dance mystical sect, the Universe mystical sect, Wan Hong, the minor divine continent, and the world's wish sphere are all mixed together, and with that huge tree as their foundation, they will multiply endlessly. Then, even if we join forces, we will not be able to break through. The Immortal Master said, this way, even if those little fellows truly stabilize their foundation, as their cultivation increases, if all of them become God level, or even saint level, then it will be very difficult to deal with them. They have 16 saints now, the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise. If all of them become saints and activate the dimensional realm, then they will be on equal footing with us. That's right. Wan Senshi said, actually, if you and I join forces, we can completely annihilate these little fellows. Unfortunately, you are unwilling to do so. We have too many people tied down. Putting aside whether that person of mine will allow us to do so, even the powerful existences like the three heavenly venerables are eyeing us covetously. As long as we are tied down by the dimensional realm, they will make their move. Moreover, the Buddhist sect seems to be biased towards the calming immortal department. The Immortal Master said, if the Buddhist sect and the calming immortal department join forces, then we have no chance of winning. Indeed, the Buddhist sect has accumulated a lot. Although that Supreme Buddha is my junior, he is not as strong as I am. It will not be easy for me to completely suppress and kill him. Wan Senshi said. He announced to the public that he had died, but he hasn't. It seems that I can only hold a world salvation ritual and let the heavenly Tao devour Gu Taxian. Then, I can carry out a series of plans. Then, no one will be my match. You of the heaven, the immortal heaven said, Immortal Master. The immortal Master said, we are all living beings born from the Big Bang of primal chaos. We have witnessed the birth and destruction of many civilizations. We are almost indestructible and have reached the realm where we can live as long as heaven and earth. However, heaven and earth will eventually collapse and return to primal chaos. When we arrive, we Gu. Tao of Tao God Ji Wood, God of. Of course. I think you want to as well. Wan Senshi said. The world will return to primal chaos, and everything will return to nothingness. It's impossible for us to resist such a Tao of life and death. Not to mention us, the Hong Meng tree, the heaven-offering talisman, the boundless universe, everything will have to return to the furnace. Are you willing to accept this? Naturally, we are unwilling. Hence, we are doing our best to struggle. The three celestial venerables are also struggling. The immortal Master said, it all depends on whether there is any hope in the end. I think there's a good chance. Wan Senshi said, after all, a situation that even the heavenly Tao is unable to control has occurred. The heavenly Tao itself is the will of chaos, life and death, the highest authority of all. If we can obtain a slim chance of survival from within, we can also hope for a primal chaos to still exist. You have your plans, and I have mine. However, these are still too early for us, the immortal Master said. The most important thing now is to solve the problem of the Dharma Saint first. After the problem of the Dharma Saint is solved, I'll personally play with those fellows from the Celestial Tranquility Bureau. Wan Senshi's interest was suddenly piqued. To think that they actually took advantage of the fact that I was too busy to deal with them and took over the chess piece that was Jing Fanqing. This is something that has never happened in the past several tens of thousands of years. Be careful not to fail miserably at such an easy task, the immortal Master said with a smile. A small surprise makes it all the more interesting. Wan Senshi said, let's not fuss over these things for now. When do you think the Dharma Saint will be able to cultivate a medium-class world? It should be soon. The immortal Master said. He has already helped Wu Dangkong comprehend the wonders of the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Using this talisman, he can borrow the power of the heavens and repay it in the future. It will be enough to make up for all losses. The 13 deity-level experts of the School of Legalism are in the Sun-Moon Sacrificial Altar, which is equivalent to 130 deities. Such a huge amount of power should be more than enough to push the advancement of the medium-class world. If my guess is correct, the Dharma Saint will need another 3 months to completely transform. Of course, he might still have some tricks and allies hidden up his sleeve. He won't be defeated so easily. Although our cultivation levels are high, it will be very troublesome to kill a celestial venerable. When did the celestial venerable become one in your words? Wan Senshi said, however, a celestial venerable that hasn't become a medium-class world isn't that much of a threat. If he becomes a medium-class world, he will have the ability to fight us to the death. The celestial venerable realm is one level lower than us. It is outside the 3 realms and not within the 5 elements. According to our classification, it is celestial venerable, celestial longevity, and celestial origin. We are all in the celestial longevity realm. The so-called celestial longevity realm means that we live as long as the heavens. We are already at the peak. You haven't seen a creature in the celestial origin realm, right? Wan Senshi said. A creature in the celestial origin realm is equivalent to a mighty force on par with the boundless universe. I have indeed never seen one before. If we include magic treasures, the heavenly sacrificial talisman, the desolate dragon gate, and the grand mystery, It should be the celestial origin realm, Wan Senshi said. Then do those three little fellows, Yuan Gu, Do Xing, and Pu Ta, have any hope of reaching the celestial longevity realm? The immortal master asked. Those three little fellows are extremely cunning. It's very likely that they have already ascended to our realm. They're just biding their time. Although I said that the three of them are nothing to worry about, the truth is that the three of them are already peerless enemies. Wan Senshi was very clear in his heart. However, even if the three of them ascended to the celestial longevity realm, their accumulation would still be far inferior to ours. They are beings born after the heavens, while we are beings born from the primal chaos explosion. In terms of innate strength, there will be a gap. Right now, they are coveting some of the treasures of the Grand Mystery in order to make up for their innate weakness and stand on par with us, the Immortal Master said. Those three little fellows have been restless ever since the primordial era, and they've slowly grown to such colossal realms, Wan Senshi said. It looks like after we deal with the Dharma Saint, we'll have to deal with them as well. If we don't deal with those three little fellows, I'm afraid that my great sacrificial rite of salvation will inevitably fail in the end. That's inevitable, the Immortal Master said. The Immortal Master said, it just so happens that it will take a few months for our power to be completely fused together. So, we'll give the Dharma Saint 3 months. Both of them were cultivating with each other, drawing out the power of their own dimensional worlds to forge a one-time attack. Both of them were ancient creatures born from the primal chaos explosion. Now that they were working together, their offensive power could be raised to a frightening level. Days passed by. Ever since the day Wan Senshi declared war against the calming Immortal Department, many people from the Alliance of Myriad Immortals wanted to capture the people of the calming Immortal Department. However, in the first month, all those who harbored evil intentions were captured by the department. Moreover, the department directly declared that the Alliance of Myriad Immortals was an illegal organization, and that any member of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals who entered the Divine Central Continent or the Wildlands would be killed immediately upon sight. As long as the original members of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals withdrew from the Alliance and confessed their crimes, they would be leniently dealt with, and would also be rewarded handsomely. They would be sent to the Divine Central Continent to cultivate and be taught the dragon cultivation technique. In a short period of time, many members of the Alliance of Myriad Immortals also began to rebel. Gu Chunsha had advanced to the 26th transformation of the Tao realm. All techniques returned to 1. The 360 marshals of the common people, who were suppressing the land of Yongzhou, had also advanced to the 26th transformation. With Gu Chensha's current cultivation base, with each advancement in level, his combat prowess would increase by several times, or even tenfold. Because he had won against Wan Senshi in a battle of magical powers against Jing Fanxing, he had obtained Wan Senshi's Tao-seeking diagram, the method to condense the world tree, and the essence of the tree of wishes. Gu Chensha's comprehension of the primordial tree had deepened. He used the heavenly Tao technique to simulate everything, and it was like a fish in water. What was even more amazing was that when he advanced to the 26th transformation, all techniques returned to 1. He had refined the all-elephants shattering cudgel and fused it into his body. This was why his current combat prowess, not including his medium-class world, was comparable to a god-level expert at the 30 transformation of the Tao realm, world creation. If he improved further and reached the more crucial 27th transformation, seamless space between two worlds, he would be able to tear apart space. Then, with his own strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to kill a god-shattering dust world. The all-elephants shattering cudgel's ability was to destroy worlds and destroy all phenomena. It was true that Gu Chunsha could use the art of heavenly Tao to activate 70 to 80% of his power, but only when he reached the 27th transformation and comprehended the wonders of space tearing could he use his powerful magic power to tear space. Only then could he use the full power of the all-elephants shattering cudgel. Now, with a single thought from Gu Chun-sha, the all-elephants shattering cudgel that he had refined in his body had already turned into a ball of runes. This ball of runes wasn't the main body, but the will that had been refined. It was the God of Strength's true God Tao. The God of Strength was known as the God of Strength, so his true God Tao was to use strength to destroy everything. This ball of runes was a spiritual will that had fused into Gu Chensha's heart, causing his spirit force to reach the realm of being able to use 200 million things at once. Moreover, when Gu Chensha was slowly nurturing this rune, the God of Strength's body also started to appear in his heavenly Tao technique. It was as if he had obtained the God of Strength's true orthodoxy. Chapter 641. The Hercules god was a true god, so he naturally had a deity seat and an inheritance, and the all-encompassing destruction cudgel was something he had spent his entire life forging. Bits and pieces of his experiences were infused into it. From this cudgel, Gu Chensha could extract the true essence of the Titan god's spirit, the source of his strength, and infused it into his own mind. Not only did his spirit force skyrocket, allowing him to multitask, but it also caused the circulation of his heavenly Tao energy to become even stronger. At the same time, he already knew that his heavenly Tao arcane power was actually omnipotent. It was just that he was unable to activate it due to his cultivation level. One day, when his cultivation realm reached a certain level, he would be able to wield the Heaven's Path immortal energy, and that would truly be an unstoppable force. As he comprehended more and more, he had a deeper understanding of how to raise the combat strength and cultivation of the puppet. Now, each puppet of common people's commander, apart from rising to Tao Realm 26 transformations, all techniques back to one, could execute more spells and their divination skills would also become deeper. A common people's commander at 26 Tao Realm transformation could totally suppress the small fry and help the governor do many things. Unfortunately, the general of common people wasn't a living being but a puppet. In this great era, even normal people could obtain fortuitous encounters, but the general of common people didn't have a single one. This was the biggest drawback. Gu Chensha was thinking about how to let common people's general have a fortuitous encounter. To others, this was just wishful thinking. Puppets were puppets. How could they have fortune and luck to obtain fortuitous encounters? If the common people's commander had luck and fortune, then how would others live? However, Gu Chensha was someone who had cultivated the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao was omnipotent, so naturally, it could increase the fortune and luck of the common people's marshal. Moreover, he had obtained the Tao orthodoxy of fortune, prosperity, and longevity from longevity god, which gave him a deeper understanding of the Tao of fate. What was fate? That was a certain kind of choice that people made toward the future. A person's future path had many choices, from good to bad, constantly changing. That was why a person's luck was sometimes strong, and sometimes it was low. When one was at his peak, there would always be a benefactor helping him, allowing him to rise rapidly. When he was at his lowest, he would fall to his death while walking, and even drinking water would get stuck in the gaps between his teeth. However, if one were to use some kind of secret technique to change one's luck when one was unlucky, one would be able to change the direction of one's future. Walking in the world, every step one took was either heaven or hell. It could be said to be treading on thin ice. One had to choose the most correct future for every step they took. This was the secret of karmic luck. However, even an existence like Wan Senshi could not grasp all the fates and futures he could choose and choose the most suitable one for himself. After studying it for a long time, Gu Chensha had already begun to see through the fundamental secrets of fate. The right to choose the future. He started to think about how to give luck to the 360 common people's generals. In Wan Senshi's Tao-seeking diagram, if the leaf of the small world tree was obtained by someone, that person would obtain extremely strong luck in a short period of time. However, their future path would be cut off, and the path of life would become a path of death. Gu Chunsha was familiar with the heaven sacrifice talisman, so he could naturally see that the leaf of the small world tree was something that Wan Senshi had comprehended by imitating the heaven sacrifice talisman. Within it was the Tao of stealing luck. The true meaning of my common people heaven-mending art is that if the heavenly Tao is lacking, then all living beings can make up for it. If all living beings are lacking, then the heavenly Tao should also make up for it. The hearts of all living beings, with the blessing of their wishes, can revolve the universe, reverse fate, and create luck for my 360 common people's generals. Gu Chunsha continued to comprehend and use it, perfecting the common people heaven-mending art further. The knowledge that he had obtained even surpassed that of some heavenly venerables. Thus, the common people heaven-mending art that he had created was something that even heavenly venerables might not be able to create. Naturally, it had its own mysteries within. He had now split into 3 incarnations. One was Ghostiku, who followed Longevity God and temporarily hid within the alliance of 10,000 immortals, constantly paying attention to Yu Huanlu's movements. The second was Fong Lin, who was the second in command of the Human Dragon League and assisted Qin Han in managing the Xin province to resist the invasion of the demon army. The last one was following Douyu, Ling Xiaofei, and the others to tour the divine continent and obtain fortuitous encounters. His incarnation, Unfettered Flowing Void, had some luck as well. Following these people, he obtained some decent immortal Tao treasures and medicinal pills. To him, it was better than nothing. It was true that there were many fortuitous encounters in the divine central continent, but almost 99% of them were of no use to Gu Chunsha. First, he had refined the heavenly demon tree into the wishing tree, and now, he had turned the wishing tree into the world tree, which could give birth to endless treasures. Even heavenly venerables could not compare to him in terms of manufacturing ability. With just a thought, the world tree could give birth to extremely precious immortal pills. In fact, the real world tree was something that Wan Senshi had seen when he traveled through countless spacetime turbulences, as well as many vast thousand worlds born from the primal chaos Big Bang. It was not something that could be refined by humans, but one of the pillars that grew in the vast thousand world. After Gu Chunsha absorbed the world tree, the wishing tree underwent its final evolution, breaking away from the peak of ancient Tianzi and reaching another realm. Thus, he simply named it the World Tree. It symbolized the wish of the common people, and the sphere could transform into a vast thousand worlds. Now, let alone 3 clones, even if he had 10 million clones, he could still use them freely. Originally, he had another clone, Wu Dangxian, who was in the martial saint's paradise, ready to devour the entire Wu family's small thousand worlds at any time. Unfortunately, the martial emperor had suddenly recovered and descended. He had sensed that something was wrong, so he had quietly retreated. The martial emperor seemed to have recovered all of his abilities, and he had even advanced a step further. This was definitely one of Wan Senshi's schemes. In his view, Jing Fanxing was a small leek that had been harvested twice. The martial emperor was a big leek that had to be harvested again. I wonder if Jing Fanxing will turn the entire Holy Sama Empire into a Buddhist kingdom after being enlightened by the Buddhist sect? But the Buddhist sect is really not good at business. If a country believed in this path, then everyone would seek liberation. They would not produce or develop, and they would practice meditation in peace, cutting off all desires, and especially not procreate. Then the race and the country would basically shrink. This is also the main reason why it is difficult for the Buddhist sect to develop, but this is the doctrine of the Buddhist sect, and it cannot be changed. Gu Chunsha was very clear about this, but the Holy Sama Empire is doing well. Jing Qiu has spent a lot of effort. This is also why Wan Senshi chose Jing Fanxing. Jing Qiu actually obtained the Myrtle Imperial Star and fused it into his body. He is a person of great fortune. His future achievements will not stop there. If Jing Fanqing follows him, there is a possibility that he will succeed. Wan Senshi will not let go of this chess piece. Gu Chencha's true body had already returned to the Lesser Divine Prefecture to take charge. The Lesser Divine Prefecture had fused many primordial treasures, including the Amitabha Sutra banner, the Wintry Pearl, the Blade of Law Enforcement, the Hurricane Gourd, the Brocade Bamboo Brush, the 10,000 Army Blade, the 100 Mountain Fan, and the 3,000 Soft Water Cauldron. Each of these treasures was equivalent to the Buzhou Palace. There were 8 of them in total. If they were all fused, they would simply have the foundation to advance to a small thousand world. At that time, Gu Chensha had extorted the great families to the point of bleeding. Currently, there were more than 800,000 cultivators in the Lesser Divine Prefecture. All sorts of powerful sea creatures that had cultivated the great people's universal purification scripture had developed human characteristic. That righteous merit had completely extinguished all thoughts, and was now fully planning for the Lesser Divine Prefecture. With these god-level experts working day and night, it was only a matter of time before the Lesser Divine Prefecture became a small thousand world. Gu Chensha sat in the Azure Dragon Pagoda in the middle of the small thousand world. He watched as the 800,000 cultivators and countless sea creatures prayed, swore, and made wishes. Some entered the small thousand world of the common people's wish sphere, while others nourished the Lesser Divine Prefecture's divine prefecture boundary and transformed it into the world's gray space. In reality, the divine prefecture boundary of the Lesser Divine Prefecture was very sturdy. After digesting so many primordial treasures, the entire Lesser Divine Prefecture had long since reached the peak of the minute dust world. Of course, it was not that easy to transform a minute dust world into a small thousand world. Logically, it would take at least 5 god-level experts, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of believers to offer sacrifices every year, and after more than 3,000 years, it would finally transform. However, in this Lesser Divine Prefecture, Gu Chensha had gathered 800,000 cultivators. These cultivators were not ordinary people, they were all powerful existences. The power of wishes, prayers, and sacrifices produced by them was equivalent to hundreds of millions of ordinary people. In addition, Gu Chensha now often produced heavenly dew rain to nourish the Lesser Divine Prefecture, which was extremely beneficial to the development of the world itself. Of course, although there were so many benefits in the Lesser Divine Prefecture, the only god-level expert was righteous merit, which was the Wu family's old ancestor, Wu Pagong. Of course, there was also a talisman formed by Xiao Donglai's god-level cultivation, but he was not a human, so he could not produce the power of wish. He was only integrated into the Azure Dragon Pagoda to suppress the Lesser Divine Prefecture. In other words, the Lesser Divine Prefecture currently only had one god-level expert. However, the Lesser Divine Prefecture was connected to a small thousand world of the common people's wish sphere. When it transmitted the power of wish to the small thousand world, it also received feedback from the small thousand world. The feedback from the small thousand world was not something that a god-level expert could compare to. Even the heavenly venerables could not compare to the small thousand world. After cultivating the small thousand world, Gu Chensha was able to control this world, and condensing a low-level world was a walk in the park. Now, Zhuge Ye was working with the few great mystic sects, and the worlds were connected. At the moment of communication, they complemented each other, and the Lesser Divine Prefecture would receive a huge boost. In an instant, it would become a small thousand world. As long as it became a small thousand world, the Lesser Divine Prefecture would be considered a brand new mystic sect of the immortal Tao, and it would be the ruler of the seas. It could completely stop the invasion of the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor. It could even be used as a springboard for the Yonko to invade the Great Wei dynasty. This was true strategic defense and offense. Chapter 642. The Great Might Dynasty had conspired against the Central Divine Prefecture time and time again, even joining forces with the demon race and barbarian race to invade the lands of the imperial court. When Gu Qinsha first made his debut, the first thing he seized was Prince Gu's heavenly dragon spirit-condensing flag, who allowed the Great Wei Dynasty to plot against the Yonko, not allowing Yonko to retaliate. Gu Qinsha had been making arrangements a long time ago. He made Bao Ming a spy, and his development in the Great Wei Dynasty was rather smooth. The structure of the Great Wei Dynasty was not like the Yonko, where everything was decided by the emperor. Instead, it was more like a feudal system. Many nobles had their own fiefdoms, and within their fiefdoms, the appointment and dismissal of officials were all decided by the nobles themselves. It was just that the nobles had the responsibility of protecting the emperor and paying taxes to the emperor. Even the emperor could not casually dismiss or kill nobles. Otherwise, if order was disrupted, the nobles would be attacked by the masses. Of course, if the nobles rebelled, they would basically be destroyed. In short, the structure of the Great Wei Dynasty was completely different from that of the Yonko. It was a completely different style. Hence, while Bao Ming'er was working with the calming immortal agency, his business was going smoothly, and his family's influence in the Great Wei Dynasty had been greatly expanded. With this as a stronghold, Gu Qinsha would be able to swallow the Great Wei Dynasty whole. The Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor's restrictions were increasing. He was also being summoned by the heavenly Tao. He had to resist it, and his strength could not be displayed. Moreover, Gu Qinsha didn't fear him at all. If it weren't for the fact that he was being held back by so many parties, and that the Great Prestige Dynasty was too far away, then even if he defeated them he wouldn't gain much. Otherwise, he would have already activated his dimensional realm and destroyed the Great Prestige Dynasty. The most important thing right now was to suppress the Devil Calamity. Gu Qinsha activated the Heavenly Tao technique and sat in the small divine province, controlling the changes in the divine province. He was also waiting for the critical moment when the Dharma Saint would ascend to a dimensional realm. Then, he would be able to take advantage of the situation. It would be best if he could capture the Dharma Saint himself. Like this, he could suppress the Dharma Saint within the World Tree and use it to assist in the transformations. As he refined the Dharma Saint, he would be able to ensure that the dimensional realm wouldn't lack kinetic energy. The Dharma Saint was currently a heavenly lord. Suppress and capture a heavenly venerable? That was a crazy idea. But Gu Qinsha felt very confident. By then, the profound sect of the universe, the Tai Fantasy sect and the Heavenly Dance Fantasy sect would communicate with each other with the help of the World Tree and form a real alliance. In this way, a colossus would be born. It was indeed possible to suppress the Dharma Saint in the chaos. Of course, the premise of this was that the Dharma Saint would be attacked from all sides and unable to ascend to a dimensional realm. If the Dharma Saint were to form a dimensional realm, then it would be very difficult to deal with him. The world's aristocratic families would take the Dharma Saint as the center and unite once more. When Gu Qinsha activated it in the small divine prefecture, his eyes pierced through the endless space-time and saw all the Dharma realms in the depths of the space-time turbulence. All the Dharma realms were a Dharma ring, and the ring naturally formed a world. Vaguely, it seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog. He couldn't divine it, and it was hard to see it clearly. This is the power of the heaven sacrificial decree. Gu Qinsha knew that the Dharma Saint was using the power of the heaven sacrificial decree to prevent powerhouses from calculating and accelerating the evolution of the small kiliacosm. Wu Dangkong was also helping. Recently, Wu Dangkong didn't activate the heaven sacrificial decree. Therefore, Wu Dangkong didn't gain any benefit. It seemed that Wu Dangkong had made up his mind. Even if he didn't use the heaven sacrificial decree, he wouldn't let Gu Chensha benefit. This was the so-called harming others without benefiting oneself. Gu Chensha also didn't know why Wu Dangkong had such a strong hatred. If this woman cooperated with the Tranquil Immortal Bureau and worked for the imperial court, not only would she gain great power, she would also gain countless benefits. It's hard to predict people's hearts. Some people are stubborn and can't change their minds no matter how hard they try. The power of the mind is ever-changing. Even the heavens can't measure the hearts of all living beings. In this world, the hearts of all living beings are stronger than the heavenly Tao. Unfortunately, the hearts of all living beings are in a mess and can't be condensed. Naturally, it's impossible for a man to conquer the heavens. Gu Chensha calculated in his heart. He used the knowledge he had obtained in large amounts to calculate with his current mental energy. His spirit force was now able to split 200 million things at once. When he calculated, he could instantly grasp all sorts of things. The higher his cultivation and the deeper his comprehension, the stronger his ability to calculate would be. The changes to the common people heaven-mending technique would also be more profound. Based on my calculations and guesses, there should still be a few months before all the magic worlds advance to a medium-grade world. The magic power I left in the true God throne can only hide like a turtle. I can't raise my head or see what's going on inside. The Dharma Saint's suppression is getting stronger and stronger. This means that in the process of refining all the magic worlds, not only has his cultivation completely recovered, but it has also improved. I can only wait. When the small-grade world evolves into a medium-grade world, it will be the strongest moment but also the weakest moment. He will face many tribulations. I will act at that moment. Gu Chensha paid close attention to all the magic worlds. The rings continued to jump about in the chaotic space. Normal god realms and even saints couldn't lock onto them and find it hard to see them. If not for Gu Chensha leaving a bit of his own power within, he would probably have to use the power of a medium-grade world to find and observe them. He was waiting. Numerous strong existences were also waiting. When the legalism faction advanced, all their secrets would be exposed. At that time, it would be time for the big powers to act. But at that moment, something weird happened. The unified Dharma cutting ring suddenly expanded 100 times. The power of the world caused a giant storm in the chaotic space. Numerous treasures flashed across the ring and then melted into the depths of the world. He didn't know where these treasures came from, but Gu Chensha noticed many ancient treasures. What is going on? Gu Chensha was shocked. Before he could respond, the law world formed by the unified law cutting ring expanded once more. Endless strength surged outwards, and the smell of a dimensional realm began to spread outwards. Then, a giant world vaguely protected all the magic worlds. That world was a strange and dazzling one, seemingly filled with endless temptation, hope, and change. It was an ancient medium-grade world. Who knew how many experts there were, and there were even heavenly venerables controlling it. Great Sky Demon Prison. Gu Chensha saw it from his ancient memories. This giant power that protected all the magic worlds was the Sky Demon Race. The Sky Demon Race's medium-grade world was called the Great Sky Demon Prison. It was the most mysterious, tyrannical, and ever-changing place in the demon domain. The Sky Demon Race was the true ancient monarch of the demon race. During the demon apocalypse, the Sky Demon Race had never appeared. But now they were carrying out a huge plan to help the Dharma Saint refine a medium-grade world. This move was simply perfect, suppressing the center, a strike that destroyed the ages. Gu Chensha's heart sank. He had predicted that the Sky Demon Race would make a move, but he didn't expect that they would go all out to help the Dharma Saint ascend. For the sake of the Dharma Saint's ascension, the Sky Demon Race had secretly provided countless benefits. The treasures that appeared just now must have been given to the Dharma Saint by the Sky Demon Race. The Sky Demon Race was indeed generous and didn't bother with trifles. When the Dharma Saint worked with the pygmy demons, both sides were careful, afraid that the other would become a threat to them. Logically speaking, Gu Chensha knew that the Dharma Saint's cooperation with any demon race was like asking a tiger for its skin, and there was no way he could gain the other party's trust. Even if it was the demon race, no matter how closely they worked with the Dharma Saint, it was impossible for them to help the Dharma Saint ascend to a medium-grade world. This was the basic principle. Gu Chensha could even predict that when the Dharma Saint ascended, the demon race would be the first to attack the Dharma Saint. If the Dharma Saint ascended to a medium-grade world, the demon race would probably turn the tables, and they would be manipulated by the Dharma Saint in the future. But now, the Sky Demon race was actually selflessly helping the Dharma Saint. What was going on? Even if Gu Chensha was a schemer, he still didn't know the reason behind it. Not to mention Gu Chensha, it was likely that the Dharma Saint's sudden move had been hidden from even some of the old antique. With the protection of the Sky Demon race and the Dharma Saint's sudden ascension, no one could act blindly without thinking. Gu Chensha could even see countless demons being driven by the Sky Demon race as sacrifices and nutrients, merging into all the Dharma realms. There were probably billions or even tens of billions. The demon race was much more numerous than the human race, and it was unknown how many demons the Sky Demon race commanded. As the lowest existences, these demons were slaves and horses to be slaughtered. These large numbers of demons merged into all the Dharma realms and died directly. Their corpses and souls became nutrients for the birth of the world, and then the entire world would immediately be complete. No one had expected that the Dharma Saint and the Sky Demon race would be so generous. The tables have turned. From now on, the day of bloodshed for all life is coming. Even with Gu Chensha's composure, he knew that the Dharma Saint and the Sky Demon race had merged to give birth to a dimensional realm, and such power could no longer be stopped. He had underestimated the Dharma Saint, underestimated the Sky Demon race, and underestimated the workings of the world. He had miscalculated this time. What a Sky Demon race! In the depths of the spatial turbulence, Wan Senshi and the Immortal Master were both shocked. They couldn't react in time as they watched the Sky Demon prison protecting all the Dharma realms gradually forming into a dimensional realm. They knew that even if they attacked with all their might, they would not be able to destroy the Dharma Saint even if they could gain the upper hand. Instead, they would be letting others take advantage of them. One miscalculation, and they had missed the best opportunity. Immortal Master, you have attracted the Sky Demon race's frenzied retaliation because you have recruited the Eternal Demon race. Wan Senshi dispersed the spiritual power that he had gathered. If not for that, the Sky Demon race would definitely not have given up so many things to nurture the Dharma Saint and ruin our grand plan. The Sky Demon race is indeed the king of the demon race, and the most ancient demon race. The Immortal Master's eyes were deep. Our alliance is useless. What a pity! If not for the fact that there are others eyeing us covetously, even if it is the Sky Demon race and the Dharma Saint, we would still be annihilated by them. Wan Senshi was still a little indignant. Chapter 643. The Dharma Saint is quite a character. I can't believe he even miscalculated us. Wan Senshi said, the situation in the world is getting more and more complicated. Even with our cultivation base, we can't do everything as we wish. We're not omnipotent. It's normal to miscalculate occasionally. Immortal Master sighed. From this we can see that in this rolling general trend, I'm afraid even you and I can't be sure of victory, and there's even the risk of death. I don't believe it. At least, there's no power that can kill me yet. Wan Senshi said, Yuan Gu Pu Tua, fighting those three little guys won't work, and neither will Xing Qiong Shi, let alone the others. Not necessarily. The forces that will appear in the future will only get stronger. Even if you save Thunder Extreme Essence and Thunder Extreme Blood, there's still the risk of death, and they won't be able to resist the erosion of the golden light, Immortal Master said. Indeed. Wan Senshi didn't hide this. If it weren't for this, I'm afraid the tranquil immortal department would have been destroyed long ago. We'll have to reconsider this matter. The situation is now complicated. Heavenly Demon Clan, very good, you dare to ruin my plan. Immortal Master's words were filled with killing intent. Unifying the demon race is also one of your plans. Wan Senshi said, of course the Heavenly Demon Clan won't let you do as you wish, and they'll fight to the death. But I didn't expect them to be so willing. I wonder what kind of talent has emerged from the Heavenly Demon Clan. According to you and me, the current Heavenly Demon Soul Devourer doesn't seem to have the courage. The Heavenly Demon Soul Devourer was the ancestor of the Heavenly Demon Clan. Looks like you'll have to investigate what's happening inside the Heavenly Demon Clan. You and I still have to work together, and that's enough to suppress the Dharma Saint and the Heavenly Demon Clan. Even if the Dharma Saint ascends to a medium-class world, he won't be able to ruin my plan. Wan Senshi was still very unhappy. Originally, everything in the alliance of 10,000 immortals was under his control. But now, all the aristocratic families in the world must be led by the Dharma Saint. Let's go back and make our own plans. In a flash, the Immortal Master disappeared. Wan Senshi disappeared for good. A moment later, Wan Senshi arrived in the middle of the desert, in the Holy Sama Empire. At that moment, Jing Fanxing was in the midst of cultivating. Buddhist light shone from his body as a vast Buddhist power enveloped the entire hall. Suddenly, a profound look appeared in his eyes. How do I turn the Holy Sama Empire into a supreme Buddhist kingdom? Right now, the entire empire believes in Jingqiu. If I forcibly change their faith, I'm afraid that it will lead to a bloodbath, and Jingqiu won't let me go. I need to think about this at length. Suddenly, his eyes froze. Because he saw someone. He wore a long robe and a bronze mask. It was Wan Senshi. Humph. Wan Senshi was really angry. You piece of trash. If it wasn't for your weak will, how could the Buddhist sect and that kid Gu Chensha have taken advantage of you? Not only did you lose my Tao-seeking painting, but after that kid Gu Chensha refined it. His cultivation base increased again and he comprehended many truths. Not only that, you have also been brainwashed by the Buddhist sect, and you want to destroy the good situation created in this desert empire. Lord Wan Senshi, this. Jing Fanxing was a little flustered. Although he had been brainwashed by the Buddhist sect, he was still clear-headed. I want to turn you back, Wan Senshi said. Although the Buddhist sect has set up a trap in your body, even if the Supreme Buddha came in person, he would not be able to do anything. As he spoke, deep in Wan Senshi's palm, he seemed to cut off some kind of power. Then, he grabbed at the air, and a ball of Buddhist light came out of Jing Fanxing's body. The ball of Buddhist light twisted and struggled, but it was useless. Wan Senshi crushed it and turned it to ashes. At this moment, the Buddhist sect did not dare to fight against the furious Wan Senshi, so they gave up on Jing Fanxing. After the ball of Buddhist light was taken away, Jing Fanxing immediately came to his senses. He was drenched in sweat as he knelt down. Lord Wan Senshi, please spare me. I was also bewitched by the Buddhist sect and Gu Chensha. Under the power of these two giants, there is nothing I can do. Trash will always be trash. I'll give you one last chance. Wan Senshi seemed to think that Jing Fanxing still had some use as a pawn. You did not obtain any Dharma treasures in the divine central continent. That is because the opportunity has not yet arrived. If you forcibly seek out the opportunity, you will naturally meet with misfortune. What you need to do now is to develop the Holy Sama Empire and make it extremely prosperous. That way, the merit of nurturing all life and transforming this desert will fall on you, and your luck will change because of that. I gave you the Tao-seeking diagram and the small world tree to nurture this desert. But you are still blinded by greed. Your disciple knows his wrongs. Jing Fanqing knew that if he did not pay attention, he would be killed by Wan Senshi. I spent a great deal of effort to refine the Tao-seeking diagram and the small world tree. Since you have been taken away by others, I cannot refine them for you. What a pity, what a pity! If you had used the diagram and the tree, you would have been able to expand the Holy Sama Empire in the desert dozens of times over. At that time, your merit and luck would have skyrocketed. When you go to the divine central continent again, the fortuitous encounters you will obtain will not be comparable to what you have now. What you need to do now is to nurture your own luck, understand? Wan Senshi had nothing to say to Jing Fanqing's stupidity. With a wave of his hand, another Dharma treasure flew out. This treasure was a small gate that was transparent like a crystal. This treasure is called the minor spatial door. I created it by imitating the real spatial door, Wan Senshi said. The real spatial door is in the hands of the void worms. Right now, there are some problems with the expansion of the desert empire. It is too isolated, and the transportation of resources is not very smooth. Now that you have this door, you can build portals everywhere. You can even communicate with the distant wildlands and the Great Wei dynasty. You can even communicate with the regions beyond the eastern wastelands and the frigid snow region. This way, you will be able to obtain endless resources and people. You will be able to completely green this desert and obtain merit and luck. With the support of the will of the Land of Infinity, you will have truly succeeded. Many thanks, Your Excellency. Jing Fanqing kowtowed repeatedly and took the minor spatial door. If you still lose this treasure, then there's no need for you to come see me. Kill yourself, or else I'll make your life a living hell. Remember, what you need to do now is to continuously develop the Holy Sama Empire. Success will come naturally, and your cultivation will also comprehend a lot more because of this. Wan Senshi reminded him again. No matter what kind of fortuitous encounter you have, it is better to stay here and work hard. But the god of this place is Jing Qiu. Everything I have built is just to help him, Jing Fanqing said bravely. Right now, Jing Qiu is working with the Dharma Saint. I can't compete with him at all. Don't worry, I have my ways, Wan Senshi said. As long as you work hard on my life-death illusion destruction, it is only a matter of time before you surpass Jing Qiu. I understand. I will definitely work hard. Jing Fanqing didn't dare say anything else. Other than this minor spatial door, I will also plant a cultivation seed in your body. It is the essence of my body. When you cultivate the life-death illusion destruction, you can refine it. Your cultivation and comprehension speed will be 10 times faster, maybe even 100 times faster. Wan Senshi flicked his finger, and in an instant, another ball of light entered Jing Fanqing's sea of consciousness. Then, he disappeared. This was his real body. Only by coming with his real body could he suppress the Buddhist sect and take Jing Fanqing in again. He didn't want to give up on this chess piece. After Wan Senshi left, Jing Fanqing's face was filled with hatred. Gu Qinsha. This time, I fell for your trick again and was almost purified by the Buddhist sect. This time, I won't let you get ahead of yourself. In the Dharma realm, the school of legalism, countless people cheered and jumped for joy. This was a moment of success, a historical moment. Countless people in the school of legalism had tears in their eyes. Jing Qiu and Wu Dankong looked at each other. They hadn't expected that the Dharma Saint would be able to form a dimensional realm so quickly. The heavenly demons had done their best to help him. What's wrong? The Dharma Saint looked at Wu Dankong and Jing Qiu with a calm expression. In reality, my use of the true God position was just a cover to deceive everyone. The most important thing was that I made an agreement with the heavenly demons. They fully supported me. Is our agreement still in effect? Wu Dankong asked. Of course it is. I will use the power of the dimensional realm to help you increase your cultivation. However, I have decided to give the true god position to Jingqiu. You have the heaven sacrifice talisman, so you will form the true god position sooner or later. Of course, I won't mistreat you. The Dharma saint said, I have made an agreement with the heavenly demons. I will give you a few primordial treasures. Now, with the power of the dimensional realm, I will help you completely suppress the divine prefecture ominous armor. Together, this armor will transform and become your armor. The power of this armor will be equivalent to that of a sage. It will be completely under your control. You will have the incarnation of a sage. Xing Qingshi's injuries probably haven't healed yet. This is a good opportunity. That's good. Wu Dongkong's expression softened a little. Jingqiu, on the other hand, wasn't happy. Lord Dharma Saint knows that Wan Senshi trained Jing Fanxing, so you train me to compete with Wan Senshi. Are you trying to cause internal strife in the Jing clan? Chapter 644. Lord Dharma Saint's calculations are profound. This time, even Wan Senshi and the other antiques were fooled. If I were to obtain the position of a true god, then the Holy Samar Empire would not be like this. Jingqiu calculated in his heart. Originally, Wan Senshi wanted to control the Holy Sama Empire and cultivate Jing Fanxing. Now, not only have I destroyed his plan, but I have also made all the aristocratic families in the world belong to my side. His alliance of 10,000 immortals will not be able to achieve anything. As a result, he hates me even more. But it doesn't matter. This time, if it weren't for my deep calculation, I'm afraid I would have been killed by Wan Senshi. The Dharma Saint's heart was as clear as a mirror. Now that His Excellency Dharma Saint has refined a dimensional realm, it is more than enough to contend with the calming immortal department. We should also reinvigorate the imperial court, seize back our power, and begin to control the situation in the world. Wu Dangkong was eager to give it a try. That's only natural. The imperial court cannot be controlled by the calming immortal department forever. The Dharma Saint nodded. In truth, whoever seizes control of the central divine prefecture will obtain supreme fortune. Especially now, they might even grasp some deathless Daos. Let's not talk about these things first. I have my own plans. The two of you have helped me condense my dimensional realm, and that is a great merit. Now, Wu Dangkong, you should be able to control a portion of the power of this dimensional realm. Wu Dangkong silently circulated it, and suddenly wind and clouds surged around him. Her face lit up with joy. As I thought, I can stimulate the might of this dimensional realm. Unfortunately, my strength isn't enough, otherwise I would be able to use at least a third of it. You deserve it, the Dharma Saint said. If I hadn't used your heavenly sacrificial talisman to do all sorts of things, those old fogies wouldn't have been able to figure out the secret within. I also wouldn't have been able to smoothly complete the promotion of my dimensional realm. With your current strength, it would be extremely difficult for you to stimulate even a 10,000th of this dimensional realm's power. You have to know that 1,000 dimensional realms are equal to a single dimensional realm. However, I will help you refine the divine land ominous armor. Once you obtain it, it will be the same as having a saint-level incarnation. Once you stimulate the power of this dimensional realm, no one will be able to deal with you. Gu Chunsha, it's impossible for those people from the calming immortal department to order you around in court. You can regain control of the upper study. Build your own forces and talent. Difficult. Wu Dangkong thought about it and felt that it was still a difficult task. We don't have the ability to destroy the tranquil immortal department right now. Moreover, ever since the last imperial court meeting, my power has completely collapsed. It will be extremely difficult to rebuild it. Even if I go to the high study room right now, no one will listen to me, and I can't use my authority to arrest ministers. Otherwise, not only will the Department of Tranquil Immortals deal with me, If they activate Gu Taxian's restrictions, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist them. That is a problem. Jing Qiu was well aware of the struggles of the imperial court. The general trend has been lost, and the hearts of the people have also scattered. Unless there is an overwhelming power, the tranquil fairy department will still have the upper hand in this stalemate. The opportunity will come very soon. The Dharma Saint said, the demon race's second attack is about to begin. This time, it won't be a small skirmish. The dozens of races led by the pygmy demon race were defeated in their first attack, so they will retreat to the second line. In their place, the sky demon race will personally lead hundreds, perhaps even thousands, of races to make a comeback. This time, the demon disaster will be no small matter. I will also join forces with the many aristocratic families to rebuild the central divine continent, overthrow Yanko's rule, and let you, Wu Dankong, become the son of heaven. In any case, you are in control of the heavenly sacrificial decree, and have a righteous name. It's not impossible for you to establish a new dynasty. That's true. Wu Dankong gritted his teeth. I've had enough of these cowardly days. Even if I have to die, I have to do it with a bang. This can't go on. Even if Gu Taxian counterattacks in the future, I will bear the brunt of it. Even Gu Taxian's women are dead set on him. Even the illustrious immortal master is no exception. You're really an exception. The Dharma Saint also didn't understand why Wu Dankong hated Gu Taxian and Yanko so much. Perhaps it was fate. He was now trying to rope in Wu Dankong, and even gave Wu Dankong a third of the dimensional realm's control over it. This was not a small move, but it was inevitable. He would completely tie Wu Dankong to all the Dharma realms. When the world finally changed, if the heavenly sacrificial decree changed, then he would be the first person to seize it. This was a far-reaching plan. The Dharma Saint knew that if he obtained the heavenly sacrificial decree and refined it while the world changed, he could absolutely become the first person. What immortal master, Wan Senshi, the three celestial masters, Xing Qiong? He would suppress all of them. His ambition was so great that it wasn't something that an ordinary magnate could hope to match. 10,000 ferocious refinement. At this time, the Dharma Saint had refined the dimensional realm. His every move had a great divine power. As the creator of the realm, his cultivation was already close to any of the three celestial masters. Even if there was a slight difference, it was impossible for the other party to have an overwhelming advantage. At this time, the Dharma Saint could be said to have truly become a great magnate. He grabbed, and the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor fell into his hand. The armor seemed to feel that disaster was coming. It couldn't help but send out a fierce mental wave. Dharma Saint, you shouldn't have gone against Xing Qiong. Too much nonsense. The Dharma Saint's power poured into it. He was already a celestial master, so it was very easy for him to suppress a sage. Coupled with the power of the dimensional realm, the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor couldn't overturn the heavens. Magic treasures from the ancient Heavenly Fiend clan flew out from the dimensional realm. It was unknown whether the Dharma Saint had robbed the Heavenly Fiend clan's treasury or not. These magic treasures all entered the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Wu Dankong was dumbfounded. What kind of agreement did the Dharma Saint make with the Heavenly Fiend clan? Why does it feel like the ancient Heavenly Fiend clan supports him in everything? There are so many magic treasures, and they're giving them to him for free? Wu Dankong couldn't figure it out. Rumble! The Dharma Saint unleashed some kind of magic technique, and a huge chain of runes entered the divine prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Hurry up and use your magic power to refine it with the Sun Moon Dragon Dharma. This armor will become one with your heart, and you will be able to command it as you wish. It won't be able to resist you. I've fused the Heavenly Fiend 5 Skanda ancient treasure into this treasure. In addition to the Heavenly Fiend's heart demon oath, I'll use the Son of Heaven's God sealing technique to refine it. Even if Xing Qiong comes, he won't be able to take it away. The Dharma Saint's voice was condensed to the extreme. Wu Dankong didn't hesitate anymore. He immediately used his magic power to permeate and control the armor. In a short while, the Divine Prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor's will was completely transformed. Not only was it controlled by Wu Dankong, but it also revealed the secrets of the Divine Prefecture 10,000 ferocious armor. Rumble! Wu Dankong put on the armor in the Sun-Moon sacrificial altar, and the aura of a sage immediately began to emanate from her body. Wonderful! Wonderful! Now that I'm wearing this armor, I can unleash the power of a sage. Wu Dankong was overjoyed. That's right. This treasure has the power to topple the heavens and topple the earth. When the Xing Qiong clan refined this treasure, they expended an untold amount of energy and plundered countless treasures and living beings. The Dharma Saint sighed. Helping you refine this treasure is the same as freeing you from the Xing Qiong clan's control. The Xing Qiong clan will definitely harbor a grudge against me, and they'll definitely try to make a move against me in the future. Now that the Dharma Saint has refined a medium-grade world, he probably doesn't need to care about the Xing Qiong clan anymore. Rumor has it that the Xing Qiong clan refined a medium-grade world on their own, but that world was destroyed and plundered by the three heavenly lords. Now that they've been reborn, it won't be easy to refine a medium-grade world. Jing Qiu understood a little better. The Dharma Saint has gathered the power of many aristocratic families, and with the help of the Heavenly Devil tribe, he might even be able to suppress and kill the Xing Qiong clan. It's not that simple. The Dharma Saint waved his hand dismissively. Up until now, the Xing Qiong clan's divine god grand magic has 100 layers, and it's still the strongest attack. If he unleashes all of it, he can destroy a minor kiliacosm with a single punch. Then, if he continues to attack like a tempest, even a medium-grade world will be damaged. Although he can't use its full power now, if the world changes, and the divine god rotates, he'll be able to use its power again. I know. The Dharma Saint has already set up a chess piece in the Wildlands. He wants Gu Changjian to become the Lord of the Wildlands, and then he can harvest the entire Wildlands. Now that everything is ready, shouldn't we start carrying out the plan? Wu Dankong asked. Of course. The Dharma Saint nodded. The Lord of the Wildlands is no small matter. If my medium-grade world can devour the entire Wildlands continent, it will reach a terrifying level. Although it won't be able to become a kiliacosm, it will definitely be able to suppress many medium-grade worlds, and become the ruler of all medium-grade worlds. Even if it's Wan Senshi, the three heavenly masters, or the immortal master, none of them will be a match for me. If we join forces, we will definitely be able to accomplish great things. In the desert of the Holy Sama Empire, I will also respond to the Dharma Saint. Jing Qiu's eyes flashed with deep hatred. My Jing family was exterminated. This enmity must be avenged. This is the true divinity throne of the Lu God. At this time, the Dharma Saint took out the true divinity throne. I pretended to refine this throne to confuse the outside world, but in truth, I relied on the Heavenly Devil tribe to ascend to a medium-grade world. The Dharma Saint. At this time, the Dharma Saint spoke. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. He was the #1 ancestor of the school of legalism. This true divinity throne should have been given to him, but the Dharma Saint wanted to give it to Jing Qiu. Dharma Saint, don't be impatient. I have my own plans, and I will naturally maximize the benefit. Jing Qiu's future destiny will far surpass yours, and his achievements will be limitless. The Dharma Saint waved his hand. As he spoke, the true divinity throne had already fallen beneath Jing Qiu, allowing him to sit on it. Then, the Dharma Saint spat out a mouthful of vital energy, allowing the true divinity throne and Jing Qiu to fuse together. In an instant, Jing Qiu's magic power skyrocketed. With the help of the true divinity throne, his strength, destiny, and lifespan were all raised to the extreme. Chapter 645. After sitting on the throne, Jing Qiu's cultivation soared like he was about to break through right away. The true God throne was one of the highest mysteries formed by the Son of Heaven in ancient times. The Son of Heaven God sealing technique was to use the energy of the Son of Heaven to form the true God throne. The position of true God was supreme. As long as one obtained it, they would be able to operate the heavenly Tao, absorb faith, and live for tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. They would be able to watch the vicissitudes of life, the vicissitudes of the world. Combat strength, realm, operation, divination. They were all 10 times increases. In other words, at that moment, Jing Qiu's overall strength increased by 10 times. His realm also received a huge buff, and he was just a step away from God realm. When Jing Qiu created the medium-sized world, he comprehended a lot. As one of the participants, the moment the medium-sized world leveled up, he received feedback from the world power. He reached the peak of Tao Realm 29 transformation, sense chaos. Such a fortuitous encounter was really rare because not many people could participate in the creation of a small-sized world into a medium-sized world. Thinking about it, in the universe, it was extremely rare to find a giant who could cultivate a medium-sized world. How could a normal God realm have such a fortuitous encounter? Jing Qiu was just a step away from reaching God realm. Dharma Saint forcefully gave him the true God throne, which was a huge help. It seems like you are still lacking a little. Seeing that Jing Qiu was still revolving and unable to use the final power of the true God throne, Dharma Saint nodded his head. He waved his sleeves and many pearls flew into Jing Qiu's body. Sky Demon Relic. At that moment Wu Dangkong was shocked. That's right, it's the heavenly demonic relic. After the ancient heavenly demonic relic died, its spiritual crystallization turned into a relic. It contains extremely powerful spiritual energy. Right now, it can replenish Jing Qiu's primordial spirit, allowing him to completely fuse with the position of a true god. In order to cultivate Jing Qiu, the Dharma Saint seemed to have thrown caution to the wind. A large number of heavenly demon relics entered Jing Qiu's body, and Jing Qiu's cultivation base skyrocketed once more. I'll teach you everything I know about my cultivation path and the ultimate truths I've comprehended. You have to reach the deity level as soon as possible. Once again, the Dharma Saint forcibly injected his comprehensions into Jing Qiu's sea of consciousness. Bam bam bam! A huge explosion occurred in Jing Qiu's body. It was as if something had broken, like an iceberg disintegrating and melting. Then, all of his magic power began to transform and actually produced the power of the world. Worlds combine. At this moment, the Dharma Saint transformed his own power once again to assist Jing Qiu in his advancement. Ha 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 ha! Jing Qiu let out a long roar. It's really wonderful. All of my magic power has been transformed into the power of the world. Is this the deity level? With the true God throne and a God realm expert, I am now a true God and a God of Lu? Yes, you are now a God of Lu. When the Dharma Saint saw Jing Qiu's advancement, a smile appeared on his face. That Wan Senshi wants to plot against your holy Sama Empire and cultivated Jing Fanxing. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the courage. Jing Fanxing is impatient and can't be cultivated at all. He is not as experienced and profound as you. It's a pity for Jing Fanxing. Fortunately, he has recovered his strength and improved further. After all, he is a member of our Jing family. We can't let him be bewitched by Wan Senshi, Jing Qiu said. Next, I will fight with Wan Senshi for control of the alliance of 10,000 immortals. You have to be careful. When necessary, help me. You are now a true god. The Dharma Saint said, true gods are not to be underestimated. They have great power. In the desert, you will create a situation. When necessary, you will carry out a sacrifice. If you can get the recognition of the land of infinity inside the desert, that will be a great adventure. I know that the wildlands and the eastern wastelands have their own wills. They also belong to the land of infinity. The desert I live in is actually called the Desolate Desert. A big reason why I built an empire there is to create the desolate desert and then activate the spirituality of the desolate desert. Because the desolate desert has become a desert, there is no earth chi. Therefore, it has to be activated. When I gather a large number of people and carry out the grand desolate sacrifice in the desert, I will be able to activate the will of the desolate desert and fuse it with me. When that time comes, I will be the desolate desert, and the desolate desert will be me. I will be the king of the desert. So, Jingqiu had such a big plan. I knew that you would have such a big plan. Therefore, I will groom you. Go, develop your empire. Let us join hands and change the world. The Dharma saint said. Jingqiu nodded his head. With a move of his body, he disappeared from the place with the great seat of a true god. Lord Dharma Saint, if you continue to accompany Jingqiu like this without any means to control him, what if he turns against you? Wu Dankong said after Jingqiu left. I naturally have a way. Right now, I'm not afraid of him turning against me. I have already created a medium-sized world. Therefore, I have to be bolder. If I were to be calculative, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Don't worry, Jingqiu won't turn against me. The Dharma saint entered a whole new realm. As for you, now that the martial saint's abode, the martial emperor has returned. With the help of Wan Senshi, he wants to seize the entire abode. I'm afraid that you will also be affected. Humph! Wu Dankong laughed. The martial emperor is a good-for-nothing. He was killed by the Celestial Tranquility Department once. Now that he has come back to life, he will just be sending himself to die. Don't underestimate the martial emperor. He is a peerless and ambitious character. It's only because he met that freak, Gu Chensha. The Dharma saint sighed. He will have a fortuitous encounter in the future. Then what should I do now? Wu Dankong asked. He wants to obtain the control of the martial saint's abode. Moreover, he has Wan Senshi's support. Unfortunately, as long as I offer this talisman to him, that bastard, Gu Chensha, will be able to obtain half of the benefits. Otherwise, if I activate this talisman, the martial emperor will be killed with a flip of his hand. I will help you find an opportunity to talk to the martial emperor. The Dharma saint thought for a long time. Now, I will go directly to the alliance of 10,000 immortals and discuss a series of things with Wan Senshi. With my current cultivation base and the power of the medium-class world, I am qualified to talk to Wan Senshi on equal footing. After I finish talking to him, I will see if I can help you truly control the martial saint's abode. As he spoke, the Dharma saint also disappeared. Wu Dankong stayed in the Dharma realm that had turned into a medium-class world to cultivate. She strived to break through the layers of realms as soon as possible and reach the god level. She already had 1/3 of the control of this medium-class world. Every move she made had great divine power. Moreover, she had completely mastered the divine ominous armor. Even if she did not use the power of the medium-class world, she could still have the power of a sage. This was all Dharma Saint's plan. Jingqiu tore the space apart and soon returned to the desert where the Holy Sama Empire was located. He stood high in the sky, looking down at the boundless desert. He was thinking about how to transform the desert step by step. Even though he had become a true god, it was still very difficult to change the desert. At this time, a person silently appeared in front of him. This person was wearing a loose robe and a bronze mask. Jingqiu's body trembled and he bowed. Junior pays respect to Lord Wan Senshi. Jingqiu, you have gained a lot of benefits. You have become a god-level expert and obtained the position of a true god. What do you want? Wan Senshi asked. Junior's small achievements are not worth mentioning in front of you, Lord. Whatever you want to do, Lord, just tell me to do. Even if Lord wants my holy Sama Empire, I will give it to you with both hands. Jing Qiu said solemnly, in short, Lord, don't do anything to me. I am not a threat to Lord. With Lord's status and cultivation, if you attack a junior like me, I have nothing to say. I can only accept my fate. Very good. Your answer is many times more brilliant than Jing Fanqing's. I should have nurtured you, Wan Senshi said. However, you have chosen the Dharma Saint, so you have gained many benefits. Lord, why do you need to fight with the Dharma Saint now? Lord, you need to carry out the great rite of salvation. Your current opponents are the Celestial Tranquility Department and the Imperial Court, Jing Qiu said. In that case, Lord, you might as well cooperate with the Dharma Saint and devour other existences. How can you understand the logic behind this? Wan Senshi said. However, the Dharma Saint did not give you the position of true God out of goodwill. In fact, he successfully learned the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique in order to rope in Wu Dankong. In the past, the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique could not be cultivated. Only those who obtained the heavenly sacrifice talisman could successfully cultivate it. Now the Tao of Heaven has changed. As long as one obtains the secret technique, they can cultivate it. The Dharma Saint has already refined the position of true God using the Son of Heaven's God bestowal technique. Now, the position of true God is his incarnation. Do you understand now? In that case, I hope that Lord Wan Senshi will teach me. Jing Qiu knew that the Dharma Saint would definitely have a backup plan. The Dharma Saint actually made me miscalculate once, and I also destroyed his chess piece once, so we're even. After that, I'll discuss with him how to deal with Gu Taxian. Wan Senshi said. Originally, after he refined the position of true God, your every move would have been within his grasp. But now, I've used my magic power to isolate his senses and confuse him. Although he has advanced to a dimensional realm, in my eyes, he is still too young. I will now teach you the secret to thoroughly refining the position of true God. As he spoke, Wan Senshi sent a thought into Jing Qiu's sea of consciousness. The true God throne that Jing Qiu sat on seemed to completely melt. As it shook and exploded, it was baptized by Wan Senshi's power, completely falling under Jing Qiu's control. Jing Qiu was overjoyed. Lord Wan Senshi is simply like a second parent to me. From now on, I will only follow Lord's lead. Chapter 646. Wan Senshi left. Jing Qiu looked at his disappearing figure, and a playful smile appeared on his face. Go ahead and fight. After all the fighting, I still have the upper hand. The position of true God is in my hands, and I will use this position to condense my cultivation base, build an empire, gather the fate of the nation, and integrate the fate of the nation into my own body. As he spoke, he bowed to the sky again. 3 great holy venerables, disciple Jing Qiu has already become a true God. I now pay my respects to the 3 holy venerables. I hope that you will bless me and help me break the evil and curse. As you wish. A voice was heard, and then a beam of light appeared above Jing Qiu's head. This light was like a ring, and there were layers behind his head. It seemed to contain an endless world, and it protected his body. It then suppressed and dispelled many of the hidden seals in his body. Wan Senshi had bad intentions, so he had naturally set up many hidden things in his body. But now, the halos of the 3 holy venerables had actually dispelled all of Wan Senshi's seals for him. In this way, Jing Qiu could rest easy. He was now a true God, and his position was extremely high under the 3 holy venerables. The 3 holy venerables also needed an even more important chess piece. Right now, among the 3 holy venerables, even Douyu, who was ranked first, had not yet become a true God. Jing Qiu's potential was immense. The Myrtle Imperial Star, the position of true God, and all sorts of methods, Jing Qiu had already become a giant that could not be ignored. He directly returned to the divine temple of the Holy Sama Empire. Jing Fanxing had already sensed it, and immediately came up to greet him. "There's no need to say more. I know everything about you," Jing Qiu said. "Wan Senshi wants to groom you, and there's nothing he can do about it. But now, the restrictions on your body are very small. As long as my cultivation base rises, it can be dispelled. After so many trials, you have also begun to grow. Now that I have become a true god, I have some ability to resist those giants. It will not be easy for them to easily treat us as chess pieces." "Patriarch, I already know," Jing Fanxing said. "Wan Senshi gave me a small space-time gate. I can now go to various places to build teleportation gates and plunder people and resources to decorate the desert and nourish the people. The Empire's fortune has skyrocketed. If you have the time, you should learn more about the ideas of the calming, immortal department. Although the great Yonko is in a precarious situation because the Dharma Saint has ascended to a dimensional realm and could collapse at any moment, as long as the Dharma Saint doesn't make a move, the imperial court will continue to prosper. Countless babies will be born, and the ideas of the calming immortal department will spread more and more widely." Jing Qiu said, "Our holy Samar Empire is still too weak. The harsh climate in the desert can temper the valiant character of the people, but it also restricts the development of the population. The death rate of newborns is very high, and the population can never explode. Next, what plans does the family head have?" When Jing Fanxing heard that Jing Qiu had become a true god, he was elated. "I want to transform the desert around the empire," Jing Qiu said. "In the past, I didn't have enough magic power, but now it's different. Wan Senshi's alliance of 10,000 immortals has built a new divine land, located in the deep cold snow region at the edge of the eastern wasteland. The cold air and astral winds in the deep cold snow region, as well as the dangerous icebergs, make it difficult for even experts who have cultivated to the golden core stage to fly. The environment can be said to be harsh. I just happened to follow the Tao of heaven and earth to move the icebergs from there and place them in the desert to change the empire's climate. At the same time, it will provide stable snow water once and for all. This desert is almost endless, and I don't know where the end of it is. Even if I have cultivated the law phenomenon, it will be difficult for me to reach the end," Jing Fanxing said. "I have cultivated to the god realm, so I can see the end of this desert clearly." Jing Qiu said, "With your current cultivation base, you can reach the edge of the desert in about 3 years of flying. In this desert there are many oases and countries. Your task is to gather all these oases and countries and become a member of the Holy Samar Empire." Now that Jing Qiu had cultivated to the true god level, he could already create the entire desert. The vastness of this desert even surpassed that of the eastern wasteland and the wildlands, and it contained endless secrets. If he could modify it and stimulate the heart of desolation, the merit and rewards would be limitless. "This desert is so big?" Jing Fanxing gasped. "I am now in the Tao realm of 22 transformations of the heavenly phenomenon level, and I still need to fly for 3 years to reach it? You should know that it won't take long for me to travel through the entire divine central continent." The divine central continent is actually very small, but its status is extraordinary. Jing Qiu said, "This desert was originally full of life, but for some reason, a large amount of life was suddenly extracted, causing the desert to become deathly still. What we need to do now is to stimulate the life and find the reason for the disappearance of the desert. If we find it, we can let the life return and fuse it into our world, and then we will truly achieve greatness." Just now I used the power of a true god to observe the surroundings, and I can already see that in the depths of this vast desert, if we gather all the population of the countries, there would be over 10 billion people, which is definitely not inferior to the Yonko. Wan Senshi's small spatial door is simply tailor-made for us. We have a few steps. First, I will move the snow mountains and glaciers. Second, you will gather the countries in the desert and build the teleportation door. Third, you will go to the wildlands and plunder the barbarian population and all sorts of resources. Third, we will draw cultivators from the alliance of 10,000 immortals to our empire. Fourth, you must build a good relationship with the great Yonko-S Heavenly Designer Institute, and buy and obtain some machines from the prehistoric civilization from there. That way, our empire will develop even faster. Patriarch, I already know what to do. Whether an empire's providence is strong or not depends on its population. Actually, it depends on how united the people are. The more people there are in an empire, the higher the average intelligence and strength of the population, and the stronger the providence. Of course, even if an empire is strong, if the people are not united, the providence will instead attack each other, scattered and not united. In this way, it will be harmful. Jing Fanqing said, "We have a natural advantage in building an empire in the desert. The land is vast and the environment is harsh, so we must be united. In addition, Patriarch, you will spread your religion, gathering all the power in your body. You will certainly achieve great success." Very good. You have comprehended the fundamental truth of governing a country. Population and average strength, these are built by piling up resources. Jing Qiu said, therefore, the most important thing is wealth and the people's hearts. If an empire has enough wealth and the people's hearts are united, then it will be truly invincible, a king who can suppress all directions. The reason why the calming immortal department holds the power is actually because of the manufacturing ability of the heavenly demon tree, and then the tree of wishes. If not for that, how could they create an iron plate in the divine central continent? Every day, a large amount of power of wishes and sacrifices enter their world. Patriarch, why don't we do something big? Jing Fanqing suddenly said. What do you mean? Jing Qiu asked. The Great Wei Dynasty. Jing Fanqing said, the Great Wei Dynasty was at its peak a few years ago. They wanted to attack the divine central continent, and even received the support of many factions. But because of the calming immortal department's sudden appearance, the Great Wei Dynasty had no chance at all. Thus, their momentum weakened. In addition, in recent years, the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor seems to be fusing with the Tao and entering destruction, assimilating with the heavenly Tao. Perhaps we have a great chance. You should know that the politics of the Great Wei Dynasty are very messy, a little like the feudal lords of ancient times who fought for supremacy. Because of this, they have never been able to gather a flourishing amount of power. Even the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor is powerless to reverse the situation. Why don't we plot against this nation now, imprison the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor, refine him, seize power, and reform the dynasty? Won't we be able to reap the fruits of our labor? Your idea is not bad, but the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor is an old saint, and cannot be underestimated. With my current cultivation, it is still difficult for me to defeat him, but I will contact the other factions and divide this empire. I still have a few old friends. Now that I have become a true god, I have to contact them. A scheming expression appeared on Jing Qiu's face. I will follow your plan, family head. I will take things one step at a time, Jing Fanqing said. Family head, please rest assured. Very good. We are all members of the Jing clan, and we will eventually restore the Jing clan to its former glory. It is a pity that many of our Jing clan disciples have been murdered. Jing Qiu took a step forward and disappeared. He seemed to be contacting the other factions. Back then, he wanted to rebel and obtained the support of many powerful factions. It was a pity that he was defeated by Zhuge. Now that he had become a true god, he once again sought out those factions, contacted them, and did something big. Law Prefecture. A group of people was observing the changes. This group was Douyu, Ling Xiaofei, Do 19, Gu Chencha's loose cultivator drifting void, and a few cultivators with extraordinary luck. They had been roped in by Douyu. These people traveled all over the divine Great Land, and finally arrived at Law Prefecture. Along the way, almost all of them had many miraculous encounters. Ling Xiaofei, in particular, had a miraculous encounter every 3 steps, and obtained many treasures and elixirs. He was almost like a human-shaped treasure magnet. Those treasures were like iron scraps attracted to a magnet, and they all flew toward him. Even Douyu was secretly shocked by such a powerful luck. Gu Chensha had been watching coldly from the sidelines. He could see that Douyu was using a secret technique to transfer the luck to Ling Xiaofei. Douyu's magic power was almost boundless. He had already reached the 36 transformations, and he could ascend to the Celestial Lord level at any time. This woman could be said to be terrifying. Just as this group of people arrived at Law Prefecture and continued to observe, Douyu suddenly froze. Ling Xiaofei also seemed to sense something. Big sister. The Dharma Saint has actually ascended to a medium-class realm. What should we do? This is completely outside of our calculations. Even Father didn't plan for this. Do 19 hurriedly sent a telepathic message to Douyu. Chapter 647. Father still hasn't gotten anything from the Hongmeng tree? Do 19 asked. He is still lacking, otherwise, how could such a thing happen? Douyu said, let's go, let's leave Fazhou. Legalism has cultivated a medium-sized world, so we have to snatch it back. Moreover, since the Dharma Saint is working with the Sky Demon race, then he is definitely preparing for the second demon disaster. From now on, the world will change. Let's see whether or not the calming celestial department can handle it. Did you sense something? At that moment, Ling Xiaofei asked. I do feel some throbbing. Douyu still acted like he was only at Dao Realm Transformation 20 in front of Ling Xiaofei. What happened to the legalism? Just now, the Dharma Saint successfully advanced to a medium-sized world. Ling Xiaofei looked into the sky. Originally, with his cultivation, he shouldn't have been able to see through this. Only a God Realm expert would be able to see through some things after the fact. However, Ling Xiaofei actually knew so clearly. This showed that he had many hidden methods. There is actually such a thing? The few cultivators who followed were shocked. The world situation has changed once more. Many things will happen in the world from now on. Who knows how many lives will bleed? Ling Xiaofei sighed. Let's go, let's leave Fazhou and head to the old capital city. That is where the luck of the entire divine prefecture gathers. There are many fortuitous encounters waiting for us there. This Ling Xiaofei isn't simple. Gu Chensha, who was in the form of unfettered flow, thought to himself, this kid seems to have a compassionate heart. I can't let Douyu harm him. No matter how strong this Ling Xiaofei is, he isn't Douyu's match. After following Douyu for so long, Gu Chensha more or less knew some secret. The group immediately left Fazhou and traveled to the old capital. Up ahead is Frigid Jade Mountain. The water from the Frigid Jade spring is extraordinarily potent. Even if an ordinary person were to drink it, they would be able to prolong their lifespan, clear their meridians, and resist the effects of heat and cold. Just a few days ago, Commander Yuhuan Lu of the Celestial Pacification Department obtained a legendary supreme treasure from ancient times, the Myriad Sounds Dragon Zither. Unfortunately, it was seized by Wan Senshi and is still tied to that golden watch. Standing on top of a mountain, Ling Xiaofei pointed at the Frigid Jade Mountain in the distance and said, right now, the Tranquil Immortal Department has sent another great commander called True Jade Dew. I think there will be another huge burst of fortuitous encounters here. Don't tell me we're also going to snatch the fortuitous encounter of the Tranquil Immortal Department? A cultivator asked. We aren't existences on the same level as Wan Senshi, we definitely don't dare to compete with the calming immortal department, it's fine. Doyu said, since the Dharma Saint has transformed into a dimensional realm, the calming immortal sector is in a terrible situation. There are enemies on all sides. Let's wait, the Dharma treasure will automatically choose its master. Ling Xiaofei said, if it chooses me, then I won't pass on the responsibility. If it chooses someone else, I won't fight for it. Why don't we take a stroll in the capital and enter the palace to explore? Do 19 suggested. That old palace is the center of fate, the center of the divine continent. Who knows, there might be even stronger Dharma treasures appearing. It's a little dangerous. Ling Xiaofei shook his head. Ever since what happened to Yuhuan Lu, the old capital has increased its defenses, and there are even 3 common people's marshals guarding it. The strength of each of the common people's marshals is actually at the 26 transformations of the Tao realm, 10,000 techniques returned to 1. We can't do anything about it. Luckily, these common people's marshals don't have any fate to begin with, so it's impossible for them to obtain any fortuitous encounters. If they all had fortuitous encounters, they basically wouldn't be able to survive. A cultivator sighed. It is said that the advancement of the common people's marshals is closely related to that Gu Chunsha. Only when Gu Chunsha advances will they also advance. From this, we can see that Gu Chensha's cultivation has already reached the 26 transformations. 26 transformations is nothing. Ling Xiaofei frowned. What is terrifying is that this person has cultivated the Heaven Path technique and can transform into anything. Even the ancient ancestor can't see through it. It is indeed terrifying. Do 19 knew how strong Gu Chunsha was. His entire body had been searched clean, and even his memories had been stolen. Let's wait here and not anger the calm celestial department. Ling Xiaofei said, I feel that this place has some fate with me. As he spoke, he sat down cross-legged. Everyone else also sat down with him. At this moment, Doyu's eyes lit up. Her true body jumped up into the sky and she looked down at the people below. Ling Xiaofei is getting stronger and stronger. He should be just a step away from reaching the 27 transformations of 2 worlds and being able to tear open space. He also has a strong Dharma treasure on him. Looks like it's time to gather everyone's luck on him and attract the reincarnations of the 2 carefree stars to come into being. The 2 stars of spirit flight and the 2 stars of carefree are fused together. Their luck is far from what it can compare to right now. Ling Xiaofei will probably be able to obtain endless treasures. That Grand Preceptor Wenhong has obtained the Cauldron of Infinity. This is no small matter. The Cauldron of Infinity represents the core authority of the Land of Infinity. He can get whatever he wants. Doyu grabbed at the sky. A formless spiritual light immediately enveloped the small mountain. Gu Chunsha saw everything clearly. He could feel the luck of a few cultivators flowing towards Ling Xiaofei. The luck of this wanderer emptiness that he had transformed into was also flowing away. The so-called luck was the control of the future and the ability to choose one's fate. Originally, the luck of this wanderer emptiness wasn't that great. However, Gu Chensha's cultivation was profound. In addition, he had obtained the cultivation techniques of the 3 gods of fortune, fortune, and longevity. His understanding of luck was extremely profound, even surpassing some of the true gods. Jiang Gongwang, Chang Yuzhou, and these experts were also experts in comprehending luck and manipulating fate. All of their memories were transmitted into Gu Chensha's sea of consciousness. All sorts of knowledge was brewed by Gu Chunsha. He used the heavenly Tao arts to simulate luck and stimulate all sorts of things. Moreover, he had plundered and refined Wan Senshi's small world tree. This tree contained the supreme Tao of plundering luck. The leaves of the small world tree were made by imitating the sacrificial talisman. This contained the most profound wisdom of Wan Senshi. When Gu Chencha's cultivation was a little higher, he could even transform the heavenly Tao arts into luck. When that time came, all sorts of fortuitous encounters and treasures would probably fly towards him. That would be the true king of luck. Now, the luck of this wanderer emptiness that he had transformed into had all been seized by Douyu and gathered into Ling Xiaofei's body. No one was aware of this. Gu Chensha didn't care. This was the luck that he had simulated. It wasn't much. He had already calculated that Douyu would use this move. Perhaps I can probe this Douyu's strength. With a thought, Gu Chencha's true body, which was sitting in the small divine prefecture, tore through the void and came over. Who? Douyu looked at the void fiercely. An absolute killing intent pierced through the sky and struck Gu Chencha's true body. So powerful! In an instant, Gu Chensha felt countless destructive intents rolling towards him. This move alone could already kill a sage. If it wasn't for the fact that Gu Chensha had a dimensional realm and activated its power to protect himself, it would have been difficult for him to escape this attack. The power of a dimensional realm. Your Gu Chensha? High up in the sky, Douyu saw Gu Chensha appear not too far away from her. Her face immediately turned frosty as she spoke. That's right, it's me. Gu Chensha's true body said. Miss Yu is indeed the most tyrannical of the three celestial venerables' subordinates. Just a glance from you was enough to kill a sage. However, Wan Senshi just captured Yuhuan Lu not too long ago. Now you've come to spy on frigid Jade Mountain. Are you trying to bully us because we don't have anyone capable? You actually know who I am? Douyu asked. I stole all the memories of your brother, Do 19. Naturally, I know what's going on, Gu Chensha said. Besides, there aren't many people in the world who can unleash that attack of yours. I've long heard that Gu Chensha of the Immortal Calmness Department is full of tricks. Today, it seems that you live up to your reputation. However, your cultivation level is too low. If you were a god, I would have to flee right now. But you're at the 26 transformations of the Tao realm, and you can't even tear through space. Even if you can use the power of a dimensional realm, I'm afraid you won't be able to do anything to me. After all, you can't completely use that power as you wish. The power of a dimensional realm is as vast as the starry sky. The higher your cultivation level, the more you can use it, Douyu said, but you don't seem to have any killing intent. Are you here to discuss something with me? Miss Yu, you're indeed perceptive, Gu Chensha said. I just want to ask, what are the three celestial venerables' intentions? Wan Senshi wants to carry out the great ritual of salvation, while the Dharma saint wants to carry out the spirit demon plan. The three celestial venerables have no intention of plotting against the central planes. If they did, the central planes would have long since fallen into their hands. Although the central planes have many secrets and might, once they fall into their hands, they'll have to bear the karma of all living beings. The gains don't make up for the losses. The heavenly Tao no longer has the power it once did. This is all suppressed by the Emperor. Without the Emperor, the heavenly Tao would return to normal, and the three celestial venerables would probably still be restricted by the heavenly Tao, unable to break through. If I were the three celestial venerables, I'd help the imperial court to prevent the heavenly Tao from returning to normal. I wouldn't go against the imperial court and trap myself. Chapter 648. Douyu mocked him for his low realm and ignorance of the heavens. Gu Chensha roared with laughter. What are you laughing at? Douyu asked. I don't understand the three great celestial venerables' vision? Miss Yu, I think you're the one who doesn't understand. Don't forget that I'm someone who has cultivated the heavenly Tao. I understand the heavenly Tao the best. You've all covered your eyes to see the world, but I've also opened them. If we're talking about the future of the heavens, none of you can compare to me. What caused you to be so arrogant and conceited that you actually dare to look down on someone who has cultivated the heavenly Tao? Gu Chunsha seized the key point of the question and counterattacked. Instead, he mocked Douyu for not understanding the heavenly Tao. You have a sharp tongue. No wonder my little brother was fooled by you. He's no match for you at all. Douyu was unmoved. The heavenly Tao is wondrous, but you're only relying on your father's bloodline. You didn't refine it yourself. From a certain perspective, you're nothing more than a profligate son of a rich family. You're much older than my little brother, and you have nothing to brag about. All right, let's not argue. Gu Chunsha saw that words couldn't sway Douyu's heart, so he dropped the matter. Missiu, what important matter did you come to the Central Divine Prefecture for this time? Can you tell me? After all, my Department of Tranquility is the master of the Central Divine Prefecture. The master of the Central Divine Prefecture. Douyu pointed at the Department of Law. The Dharma Saint has already cultivated a dimensional realm. I'm sure you know that as well. Moreover, he's joining forces with the Sky Devil tribe and will trigger a second Devil calamity. Your position is in danger, so why are you still talking about being the master of the Central Divine Prefecture? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. There's nothing to worry about. The Dharma Saint has brought about his own destruction, and no one can stop him. Gu Chunsha said, I rather admire the three great celestial venerables on this point. They seem to sense some threat and haven't come out to stir up trouble. They're not as shallow as the Dharma Saint. I'll tell you the truth. I came to the Central Divine Prefecture this time to obtain a few crucial treasures. I'll kill anyone who tries to stop me. The Tranquil Immortal Department is no exception. Douyu said, the greatest power of your calming immortal division is that dimensional realm. I can also stimulate the strength of that dimensional realm, so all of your calming immortal division's trump cards are in my grasp. Besides, you still have Wan Senshi and Dharma Saint eyeing you covetously. If you offend me, I, Wan Senshi, and Dharma Saint will join hands, and Tranquil Immortal Department will immediately be annihilated. Wan Senshi doesn't care about your meager strength at all. In fact, he doesn't even care about the three great heavenly venerables. Gu Chunsha didn't seem to care about Douyu's words at all. So, I think we can cooperate? What do you think? The three great heavenly venerables had definitely formed their own dimensional realms. As the number one subordinate of the three great heavenly venerables, it wasn't impossible for this Douyu to use the strength of a dimensional realm. But there were bound to be many restrictions. Even so, Gu Chunsha didn't want to recklessly fight with Douyu right now. Moreover, he could feel that Douyu didn't want to fight either. After all, if she angered the Tranquil Immortal Department, then she wouldn't be able to withstand it. The eruption of all the power of the Tranquil Immortal Department's dimensional realm made her feel a sense of danger. Cooperate? What kind of cooperation? You plundered my little brother's memories and took away the dragon-raising cultivation technique and dragon creation technique. I still haven't settled this old debt with you. Douyu said, it seems a bit too late to talk about cooperation now. But I still want to hear just what kind of cooperation you have in mind. In truth, my cooperation is very simple. You help me deal with Wan Senshi and Dharma Saint, Gu Chunsha said. As Douyu heard these words, it was like he had heard the most ridiculous language in the world. Have you lost your mind? You actually want me to help you deal with Wan Senshi and Dharma Saint? I haven't finished what I have to say. Gu Chunsha said, first, Wan Senshi and Dharma Saint will definitely become enemies of the three celestial venerables in the future. You will definitely fight each other in the future. Even without the Tranquil Immortal Department, you will definitely fight each other to the death. If my guess is correct, you have already begun planning to deal with them. This time, when the Dharma Saint ascended to a dimensional realm, the three celestial venerables also wanted to make a move. However, the Dharma Saint beat them to it, causing them to fall short of success. That seems to make a bit of sense. Continue. What's the second point? Douyu said. The second point is very crucial. Gu Chunxia came out with a heavy temptation. That is, if you help me, I can help you ascend to the celestial venerable realm. You will be able to jump out of the 3 realms and out of the 5 elements. How about it? What? Sure enough, upon hearing these words, Douyu's eyes flickered, as if his heart were surging with excitement. Gu Chunxia, are you joking? I'm not joking. It's true. Gu Chunxia said, I know that you have always pursued the path of becoming an celestial venerable. You should know how difficult this path is, and even the 3 celestial venerables do not have the ability to help you ascend to the same boundary as them. But what they cannot do, I have a way. You should also know that I have cultivated the heavenly Tao art. As my boundary rises, I gain unfathomable abilities. If I ascend to the God realm, even you will have to flee. In addition, you should also know that the heavenly sacrificial decree was once in my hand. Now, although that decree has fallen into Wu Dongkong's hands, as long as she carries out the sacrificial ceremony, I can still share half of the benefits. As he spoke, Gu Chenchia's palms moved. Countless rays of light appeared. Within these rays of light, a sun and moon appeared. They reflected each other, shining brilliantly, able to compete with the true sun and moon for light. Sun and moon shine together. Douyu recognized that this was the sun and moon shine together of the Son of Heaven's God investiture technique. She had heard that Gu Chunxia had once obtained the heavenly sacrificial decree, but she had never seen it with her own eyes. Now, she finally believed that the rumors were true. Yes, this is the sun and moon shine together. Gu Chunxia said, actually, we are now helping Chang Weiyang ascend to the celestial venerable realm. If you don't believe me, just wait. But if Chang Weiyang ascends to the celestial venerable realm, we won't need your help anymore. She can assist in the dimensional realm, but it won't be as powerful as it is now. Douyu's eyes pierced through the void and she saw a shocking scene. In the depths of the boundless space-time turbulence, a huge sphere of the common people's wish slowly rotated. Then, a huge tree grew out of the sphere. This tree kept extending in the depths of the space-time turbulence. Then, several worlds flew over and hung on the branches of the tree. It was the Tai Heavenly Palace, a small kiliacosm of the Tai mystical sect. The Universe Mystic Gates Minor Kiliacosm, the Universe Thunder Pool. The Sky Dance Mystic Gates Minor Kiliacosm, the Mystic Magic Lotus Realm. From afar, the Sky Dance Mystic Gates Minor Kiliacosm looked like a huge lotus that grew in the depths of the space-time turbulence and absorbed nutrient. Now, this lotus was growing on the calming immortal department's world tree and radiating all sorts of colors. It was rumored that the mystic magic lotus realm of the Sky Dance Mystic Gate was a connate cardinal treasure. The ancestral master of the Sky Dance Mystic Gate, the dance god, had obtained a lotus-shaped connate numinous treasure from the Hongmeng tree. After countless years of cultivation, it had transformed into the mystic magic lotus realm. The might of this realm wasn't inferior to the Universe Thunder Pool or the Tai Heavenly Palace. Because of this, the Sky Dance Mystic Gate had once taken second place. It could be said that the 3 great mystic gates took turns to be the banker. They would exchange places for the second place to pose a threat to the Black Heaven Earth sect. Now, the 3 great mystic gates had actually started to merge with the calming immortal department. Their powers interacted and complemented each other, forming a massive system. Boundless power was stimulated from this massive system and directly poured into the Minor Divine Prefecture. Rumble. The Minor Divine Prefecture had actually started to upgrade into a minor kiliacosm. The Minor Divine Prefecture had devoured so many supreme treasures and gathered so many talents. However, it had a shallow foundation and couldn't upgrade in a short period of time. Now, with the help of the world's will sphere and the three great mystic gates, it had immediately upgraded. The three great mystic gates had accumulated a great deal of world energy. At this moment, they had fused and complemented each other to maximize their power. What do you think? The reason why Gu Chernsha came to Douyu, tempted him and pressured him at this moment was for this effect. Now that the Heavenly Dance Mystic Gate, the Tai Fantasy Gate and the Universe Profound Sect have combined with our Minor Divine Prefecture, the world energy flows with each other. This is in line with the foundation of humanity, such as the circulation of commerce. The three great mystic sects store their own resources like how ordinary clans store grains and treasures. If they are kept in the warehouse, they will grow moldy. What's the use of not circulating? Now I've established this alliance with the World Tree as the foundation to allow the world to circulate. This is the supreme truth that I've comprehended from humanity. It's perfect for the profound mystic gate. What do you think? Impressive. Douyu observed for a long while, then withdrew his gaze. Your celestial tranquility department is quite impressive. Now that you've formed an alliance with the three great mystic gates, you can communicate with each other. Not only will you be nourished, but you'll also be able to make the best use of your resources. I admit that I've underestimated you, but I'd like to know what method you're going to use to help me become a celestial master. If you can't give me a good explanation, I'll take you as a liar. I've obtained all of the Dharma saint's comprehensions. I know how he resurrected and resisted the call of the heavenly Tao. Of course, that's just one aspect. Besides that, I've also obtained all of the secrets of Wan Senshi's minor world tree. I've also obtained all of Lord of Seven Stars Jiang Gongwang's memories, as well as the secrets of the Xing Qiong clan's heaven-defying mutation pill. That's not enough for me to become a celestial master. It's just some comprehension. It's not a big change. Douyu shook his head. Chapter 649. Everyone had something they hoped to obtain. That was their weakness. Douyu clearly hoped that she would advance to the heavenly venerable realm. Although she had reached the peak of the Tao realm 36 transformations, and her combat strength might be stronger than Chang Weiyang's, it was still a dream for her to advance to the heavenly venerable realm. Even the three heavenly venerables couldn't do anything about it. Advancing to the heavenly venerable realm was no small matter. What did Gu Taxian leave behind? What secret does that golden token contain? Douyu was really interested. She already knew what had happened in court that day. The two brothers, Lei Jiuan and Lei Jishua, had been captured because they had offended the golden token. Their clones had been combined and sealed, and they would forever kneel in the square in front of the palace. This was something that the three heavenly venerables couldn't do. Even the three heavenly venerables might not be able to escape from the golden token. The golden token that Gu Taxian had left behind could really help Douyu advance to the heavenly venerable realm. This realm was something that Douyu had yearned for day and night. This was because she had been stuck at this realm for many years. Naturally, I won't tell you this secret. Otherwise, wouldn't we be at a disadvantage? Gu Chernsha said, Missy, you must cooperate with us to obtain this secret. Moreover, although you have grasped the Dragon Nurturing Heart Sutra and the Dragon Creation Heart Sutra, you know nothing about the Holy Dragon Heart Sutra. However, I have managed to deduce some of the secrets of the Holy Dragon Heart Sutra. Do you want it? The foundation of our calming deity department is far beyond what you can imagine. The Holy Dragon technique is a little mysterious. No wonder you have so many natural-born sage talent. The power of prayer and sacrifice from a sect of 16 saints is more than enough to surpass any other profound immortal Tao sect. Now that Zhuge Ye has advanced to the deity level, his cultivation base is profound, and his control over it has increased greatly. However, I have something that your celestial peace department needs. Douyu said, how about this? You tell me the secret of advancing to the heavenly venerable realm, and I will give you something that your calming deity department need. How about that? Our tranquil, immortal department doesn't seem to need anything, Gu Qinsha said. The only thing we need is time. As long as we have enough time, our celestial tranquility department will be able to become the overlord of this world. A family of 16 sages, after all of them become sages, how powerful would they be? I know that among your subordinates are the reincarnations of the 5 seasons gods, Lu Yu, Qianzhen, Mo Chao, Jiaoliang, and Zhoubu. I didn't get their names wrong, right? These 5 people have great potential. Dou Yu said, what if I can help them obtain the true god position left behind by the 5 seasons deity? Think about it, in this way, what kind of level would the cultivation of these 5 people reach? The seat of the true god of the 5 seasons? Gu Qinsha's heart skipped a beat. Dou Yu's words had greatly affected Gu Qinsha. If Lu Yu and the other 4 people obtained the seat of the true god of the 5 seasons deity, it would be perfect. Their cultivation speed would be 10 times faster, or even 100 times faster, which would be beneficial to the stability of the world. It could be said that if the 5 of them obtained the seat of the true god, they would be able to advance to the deity level in a very short period of time, allowing the medium-class world to once again unleash its full power. If the 5 of them became true gods, the overall power of the Celestial Tranquility Department would definitely not be what it was now. In particular, if the 5 of them obtained the seat of the true god of the 5 seasons deity, they would be able to cooperate perfectly, without any flaws. Compared to the Dharma saint who obtained the seat of the god of Lu, he would only be able to unleash 70 to 80% of the power. Even if the Dharma saint gave the seat of the god of Lu to Jingqiu, the power that Jingqiu could unleash would be even smaller, perhaps only 60%. However, it would still be able to increase one's lifespan by 5 to 6 times, as well as many other miraculous uses. However, how could this be compared to Lu Yu and the other 4 people? Lu Yu and the other 4 people were the true reincarnations of the gods of the 5 seasons. After obtaining the seat of the true god, it was equivalent to the gods of the 5 seasons being reborn after a calamity or even going one step further, just like the Dharma saint and the martial emperor. I don't know where the seat of the gods of the 5 seasons deity is, nor can I deduce it. However, there is one thing that I can confirm. It is definitely not in the hands of the 3 great heavenly venerables. If you obtained it, it wouldn't be like this. Right now, you've only grasped some clues. These are actually not very useful to us, Gu Qinsha immediately guessed. Moreover, even if you obtained the seat of the gods of the 5 seasons deity here, I'm afraid that it wouldn't be worth the secret technique to advance to the heavenly venerables. If you have 100% method to help me advance to the heavenly venerables, it would definitely far surpass the seat of the gods of the 5 seasons. Even among the true gods, only a few can break through the limit and become the heavenly venerables. For example, God Maha and the Great Spirit God. Dou Yu said, however, I think that you are mostly bluffing. It is impossible for you to have the specific method to help me advance to the heavenly venerables, right? Of course not. Gu Qinsha laughed coldly. I have absolute confidence. Otherwise, do you think that the 3 great mystic sects would merge with us? They are all people who won't release the eagle without seeing the rabbit. However, from the looks of it now, both of us have something that the other party wants. If we cooperate, we can bring out the best in each other and obtain benefits. How about this, you take out a letter of intent to cooperate. I will see if there is a basis for cooperation, how to cooperate step by step, and what benefits can we obtain from each other. I will see if it is worth it, Dou Yu said. It is possible. I already have a plan. Gu Qinsha said, you should also have a minor kiliacosm. Join our world tree and communicate with each other. You can obtain power, and we can also obtain excess wealth and energy from your minor kiliacosm. Wealth is only wealth if it is circulated. If it is not circulated, it is just a rock. Join your World Tree series? Doyu said, you're quite ambitious. I'm afraid that your dimensional realm will swallow up my minor dimension. Now that you've already reached your level, I don't dare to take such a risk. How about this? Let's have a small cooperation first. How about we gain mutual trust? Then tell me, how do you think we should cooperate? Gu Chensha knew that Do Yu was extremely difficult to deal with. It was impossible to deceive him like he had deceived Do 19 and Wu Dankong. How about killing Xing Qiongshi? Do Yu said. The three celestials' greatest enemy is Xing Qiongshi. However, he was seriously injured last time and has yet to recover. I have already locked onto his position. He is somewhere in the depths of spacetime turbulence, and some of his trump cards are also there. If we attack together and borrow the power of your minor chiliocosm, we might be able to seal and kill him. Think about it, if you obtain his body, suppress him in your minor chiliocosm, and slowly refine him, wouldn't that make your minor chiliocosm invincible? Miss EU, your heart is too big. Gu Chensha couldn't help but laugh. Killing Xing Qiongshi isn't a small cooperation. It is even more difficult than killing the Dharma Saint. Even the current Dharma Saint is a bit weaker than Xing Qiongshi. Even if we add in the minor chiliocosm, we still won't be able to deal with Xing Qiongshi. The news you have is that he is seriously injured, but don't you know that this is just a smokescreen? Do the three celestials not have the confidence that they can deal with him, so they want me to go and test him? This is a great opportunity. Riches and honor come from danger. Do Yu waved his hand. There is something else I want to say. The true god of the 5 seasons throne is in Xing Qiongshi's hands. In the past, he killed the ancient Son of Heaven, and in order to protect the Son of Heaven, he killed the god of the 5 seasons and took the throne. If we join forces now, we won't be able to kill and imprison him, but obtaining the true god of the 5 seasons throne isn't impossible. Also, it is a fact that he is seriously injured. You should know this better than I do, because what injured him was some kind of power left behind by Gu Taxian. Do Yu's words aren't necessarily correct. However, it is possible that the true god of the 5 seasons throne is in Xing Qiongshi's hands. Of course, it is also possible that she isn't. She is just bait for Do Yu. This woman is really hard to deceive, and it will be very difficult to fight with her in a battle of wits and courage. I'll feign civility and probe for more information from her. In the end, she still won't be able to see through my transformation. This is where I have the advantage. If I can find an opportunity to suppress this woman, I'll be able to thoroughly understand the three celestials' secret. Gu Chensha naturally wouldn't be blinded by greed. Instead, he instantly made hundreds of millions of calculations in his mind. He immediately said, Xing Qiongshi is indeed seriously injured. Even Wu Dankong seems to have given up. Wu Dankong took the opportunity to cooperate with the Dharma Saint and refine the divine prefecture ominous armor he left behind. He now has the power of a saint. In this way, it can be seen that Xing Qiongshi really has no time to care about anything else. We have a chance. Tell me, where is Xing Qiongshi? So you're saying that you're working with me? Do Yu asked. Of course. I'll more or less cause some damage to Xing Qiongshi. Gu Chensha said, Xing Qiongshi is a huge threat to us. He wants to activate the Divine Prefecture Great Arts 100th stage and become one with the Divine Prefecture. That will completely destroy the Imperial Court. We can't stand that. And if he succeeds, the three Celestials will probably be killed by him. The three Celestials aren't as weak as you think. Do Yu smiled. However, Xing Qiongshi's offensive power is indeed unparalleled. If he explodes, even Wan Senshi will have to retreat. You can see very clearly that he's a madman. Otherwise, he wouldn't be called the Divine Prefecture's ominous number 1. His baleful aura can destroy anything. Where is he hiding now? Gu Chunsha asked again. Chapter 650. Gu Chunsha had a deep understanding of spacetime turbulence as well, and he could immediately tell that the map was real. Countless spacetime faults were densely packed together, forming a huge maze. Even a saint would get lost if they entered it. Other than that, there were also some dangerous spacetime storms, cosmic tides, and other obstacles. The power of spacetime storms was enough to turn a god into dust. In the face of spacetime storms, the microscopic world was like a canoe in the raging waves, unable to hold out for long. The cosmic tide was even more incredible. It was a tidal movement that was produced by the universe itself. When it came from the spacetime turbulence, countless spacetime, worlds, dimensions, and planes would be affected. Within it, there would be endless tearing, destruction, annihilation, and apocalyptic powers. Even a heavenly lord would have a slim chance of survival if they were to encounter a cosmic tide. When a medium-sized world encountered a cosmic tide, the world would basically break apart. Only the chiliocosm could withstand it, but it would still be greatly damaged. Therefore, whenever a cosmic tide appeared, some of the supreme powerhouses of the chiliocosm would escape from their chiliocosm and seek refuge in the endless world. Only a behemoth like the endless worlds could remain unmoved under the influence of the cosmic tide. The reason why the demon race had such an aggressive nature and was bent on attacking the endless mainland was because of the cosmic tide. Once the cosmic tide arrived, many of the demon territories of the demon race would be swept away and destroyed, turning countless of the demon race into ashes. Forced to survive, they had no choice but to come to the endless mainland. As for the fortuitous encounters in the divine central plains, it was also partly because of the cosmic tide. To think that the Xing clan had hidden themselves so deeply. But since the three heavenly lords had found where they were hiding, why didn't they exterminate them? Gu Chunsha silently memorized and deduced. He could not trust Douyu completely. The three heavenly lords were doing something important and could not split themselves. Otherwise, how could they have allowed the Dharma saint to ascend to a medium-sized world and allowed Wan Senshi to wreak havoc in the immortal Tao? It's true that Wan Senshi is an old antique, but he thinks too highly of himself. He thinks that the three celestial venerables will forever be juniors and won't improve. How could he not know that the new generation will always surpass the old? Douyu said, "It's true that Xing Qiongshi isn't easy to kill. But it's exactly because of that makes it even more challenging. There are very few things in this world that I can't accomplish. If I can kill Xing Qiongshi, then it would definitely be greatly beneficial to my cultivation. If this were the Xingqiong clan at its peak, then I would naturally run as far away as I could. But now that the Xingqiong clan is severely wounded and facing the great tribulation of the cosmos tide, we might still have a chance. Now that you've formed an alliance with us, the dimensional realm will be much stronger and I won't be able to do anything to you. If we work together, we'll have a great chance. Even if he didn't kill Xing Qiongshi, he could still covet his treasures. This person had collected countless treasures in the ancient era, and they were all hidden in his divine country. If I sneak attack him, he will be able to sense me. However, you have cultivated the heavenly Tao arts, so no one will be able to divine your whereabouts. I can borrow your strength, and the two of us will be able to complement each other. At the end of the day, that's how it is." Gu Chunsha finally understood. If Douyu went to find Xing Qiongshi, he would be discovered before he even got close. Only by using his heavenly Tao arts could he do all these things. Although his cultivation level was low, there were some characteristics of the heavenly Tao arts that even Empyreans couldn't sense. He could only be careful. For example, Wan Senshi couldn't sense that he had already infiltrated the alliance of myriad immortals. In short, his heavenly Tao arts were very useful to Douyu. Fine. Since that's the case, let's work together this once. Xing Qiongshi is still a hidden danger. This time, he was heavily wounded by the power left behind by my imperial father. Therefore, it's not impossible for us to work together to get rid of him. Gu Chensha wanted to find out more about Do Yu's secrets. However, Xing Qiongshi is the king of anomalies. He already has an indestructible body. Even in the ancient era, when the three Empyreans used the immortal slaying god punishing gourd, they could only tear his body into pieces and suppress it in various places. They couldn't kill him completely. How are we going to kill him now? Not to mention that he's heavily wounded. Even if he's only left with a remnant soul, it'll still be very difficult to kill him completely. This time, we can naturally kill Xing Qiongshi. As Do Yu spoke, a small gourd appeared in her hand. The gourd was the color of primal chaos. It didn't seem to be anything special in her hand, but when Gu Chensha saw it, his face changed. This is the real immortal slaying god punishing gourd. You brought it out? This gourd's baleful aura is so heavy that even Empyreans wouldn't be able to endure it. Why isn't there any baleful aura in your hand? It's said that back then, when the three Empyreans worked together to activate this gourd, the baleful aura of the gourd's baleful aura had injured them quite badly. Unless one is a Empyrean, it's impossible to touch the real gourd. Gu Chensha was truly shocked. With his heavenly Tao arts intuition, he could sense that the gourd before him was real. Although the gourd before him did not have any baleful aura, its aura, as well as the essence of shattering all things into primal chaos, were all transmitted into Gu Chensha's senses. That's right, shattering all things into primal chaos. This was the feeling that Gu Chensha had when he looked at the gourd before him. It stayed there quietly, not moving at all. But when it moved, it possessed the power to destroy the world. In my hands, it won't have any baleful aura. It's completely restrained. Do Yu stroked the gourd as if they were very close. The two of them had an extraordinary fate. Even the three Empyreans can't unleash its full power. It can't be controlled by the three Empyreans, but it can be controlled by me. This is fate. Otherwise, why do you think I became the #1 subordinate of the three Empyreans? How terrifying! Only now did Gu Chensha feel jealous and fearful of Do Yu. Do Yu actually had fate with this gourd. He was definitely a very dangerous person. Fortunately, Gu Chensha had probed him. However, he said, this gourd wasn't able to kill Xing Qiongshi back then. Now that Xing Qiongshi has survived and his cultivation has improved, it's even more impossible for this gourd to kill Xing Qiongshi. Back then, this gourd hadn't fully matured. Now, not only is it fully matured, but it's also nurtured another profundity. Do Yu said, it told me that there's a trace of its power in your body. That power didn't kill you, but instead made you stronger. Is that right? Moreover, it said that your heavenly law is very nourishing to it. If you can use heavenly law to nourish it, its power will reach its peak. It might even surpass its limits. It might even be able to kill Xing Qiongshi. Also, you'll be able to comprehend some of this gourd's secret. Some of my junior brothers, such as God Destruction, have comprehended some superficial destruction principles from this gourd. It had to be said that Do Yu's words were just as tempting as Gu Chensha's. As the two of them conversed, they used words to tempt each other. They set up layers of traps, and no one knew whether they were real or fake. However, their conditions were extremely good, so it was impossible not to cooperate. Gu Chensha's heart was like a mirror. Do Yu was qualified to be the #1 subordinate of the three Empyreans. Even Empyreans would be very wary of her. He really didn't know why she was fated with the immortal killing god gourd. It was just like how many people in Tai Fantasy sect didn't understand why the Tai Pearl and Tai Mang Di were fated. Fate was something that couldn't be explained clearly. Now, both Do Yu and Gu Chensha knew that the other party had thrown out poisonous bait. However, they couldn't help but swallow it. As the saying went, fortune came from danger. Gu Chunsha suddenly felt an unprecedented excitement. A battle of wits and courage with Do Yu could stimulate his improvement. He might even be able to use all of his energy to deal with him. Perhaps he would be able to obtain even more advancement by scheming against Do Yu. For example, if Gu Chunsha wanted to comprehend the Tao of deviance and advance to the 27 changes of Tao realm, seamless space, and comprehend the power to tier space, he might only have a chance to comprehend them in the battle with Do Yu. Not to mention anything else, Gu Chunsha really hoped to comprehend the true immortal killing God Gourd and comprehend many secrets from it. He had merged with the blade energy in the gourd, and his understanding of the gourd surpassed that of a celestial sovereign. Okay, let's work together once. Fortune comes from danger. Gu Chunsha finally made up his mind. Should we head over to the Xingqiong family now? The longer we delay, the harder it will be for us to recover. There's no rush. There's no need to rush, Do Yu said. I still need to acquire some good fortune before I can have a 90% chance of success. Look down below, that person named Ling Xiaofei has the secrets of the 2 stars of spiritualism. His chi flow has reached the pinnacle, but it's still not enough. If he can summon the 2 stars of the carefree star and fuse them into his body, then he'll reach a mysterious realm. Then he'll be able to acquire even more luck and fortune. Don't you want to see how many magical treasures he can acquire? Everyone has their own opportunities. Gu Chunsha frowned. Great Yong's laws forbid stealing other people's opportunities. You're controlling luck and playing with people here. I'm afraid that's not a good path. You can't do anything to me. Do Yu held the gourd in his hand, and a smile appeared on his face. In this world, power speaks louder than words. Unfortunately, although your celestial tranquility department is powerful, it hasn't reached the level where you can truly subdue all the heavens. Now, you want to discuss how to deal with the Dharma Saint. If you offend me, you will be in a mess. You have the right to say that since you have the celestial killing God Gourd. Gu Chunsha had to admit that. Since that is the case, then I will wait for your news. If you want to deal with the Xingqiong family, inform me. Chapter 651. There are many people below you. I don't want to reveal my body and do nothing. Gu Chunsha frowned at Do Yu's suggestion. It's fine. I've left a clone here, Do Yu said. 1 clone is enough to monitor everything here. If I don't communicate with you, it'll be a problem when we deal with the Xingqiong clan in the future. Then do as you wish. I'm very curious about your fate with the immortal slaying god-punishing gourd. Gu Chunsha had divined many things just now, and had already guessed that Do Yu would be a key figure in the upcoming calamity. I'll tell you. Do Yu's eyes flickered, as if she was scheming against Gu Chunsha. The 2 of them were scheming to the extreme. If there was a chance, Gu Chunsha felt that this woman would definitely kill him. At the same time, he would suppress her. She was too dangerous, and would be a huge threat to the imperial court and the world. I heard that you lived a miserable life when you were young. You stayed in the palace of the old capital until the 14th year of the heavenly talisman, when you obtained the heavenly sacrificial talisman. You suddenly erupted, and in a short 10 years, you made a name for yourself. I wonder if you're willing to take me on a tour around the old capital? Of course. Gu Chunsha also wanted to take a closer look at Do Yu. I'd like to discuss the ways of governing a country with you, Mississippi. As he spoke, Gu Chunsha waved his hand, and he descended below the old capital. Do Yu naturally followed behind. Big sis, what's going on with you and that? Gu Chunsha feigning civility. Do 19 had already received the transmission, and was secretly conversing with Do Yu's clone. You piece of trash. You've been tricked by this Gu Chunsha for too long, and you've even thrown away your foundation. Wouldn't that be a huge loss for us? Besides, this person's heavenly Tao arts are very beneficial to me. If I can borrow his heavenly Tao arts to refine my immortal slaying gourd, then I'll be able to truly unleash the power to shatter all things into chaos. This person is full of tricks and changes. I'm a little worried. Do-19 was no longer arrogant. Instead, he was much more cautious. To be honest, he was very afraid of Gu Chunxia. He didn't dare to take revenge or come into contact with him. You've lost all your confidence because of this person. Do-Yu said, I need to recover and face this person head-on. Only then will I be able to eliminate my fear and experience a qualitative leap in my spirit. But I can't deal with this person right now. Do-19 was also fuming. There's no rush. Wait until I make that person spit out the things he obtained from us with interest. I'll suppress his arrogance and greatly damage his cultivation. If you continue to fight with him, I reckon he'll be in big trouble. The Dharma Saint is about to start the second devil calamity. Wan Senshi has issued an order to attack the Calmness Immortal Department, and the Immortal Master is preparing to let the Heavenly Craftsman Institute seize the Imperial Court's power. Other than that, all kinds of powers are getting restless. The Black Heaven-Earth sect has also recently come up with a countermeasure, and all of them are targeting the Calmness Immortal Department, Do-Yu said. I wonder who will have the last laugh in the end. Do-19 could not see clearly now. Wan Senshi, the Immortal Master, those two old antiques, the Dharma Saint, the Calmness Immortal Department, and some other old antiques from the Greater Thousand Worlds should be here as well. That's right. The experts from the Xianhuang Great World, the Saha Great World, the Jambu Great World, and the Mystique Great World are already making their way to the Endless Mainland. Do-Yu said, these great worlds have accumulated a lot of resources as well. There are countless experts living in them, all of whom want to witness the splendor of the Endless Mainland. The experts of the Greater Thousand Worlds can't compare to the experts of the Endless World. It's very difficult for high-level existences to cultivate to become heavenly lords, but it's not like there aren't any. Do-19 said. That's not the most important point. If the heavenly Tao changes, and the people there become children of the world, they will be able to utilize the power of the Greater Thousand Worlds. That would be terrifying. Do-Yu said, originally, the Great Thousand Realms were born from the primal chaos Big Bang. No one can control it. Even if it's the heavenly venerables who live in the Great Thousand Realms, trying to control the Great Thousand Realms would be like ants moving a mountain. Even a heavenly lord would be like an ant looking at a majestic mountain range in front of the Greater Thousand Worlds. They were pitifully weak, and it was impossible for them to control the origin force of the Greater Thousand Worlds. But what was impossible in the past might happen now. For example, no one could cultivate the heavenly Tao arts in the past, but now Gu Chunxia had. In the past, sages could not be revived, but now the Dharma Saint had. In the past, the heavenly sacrificial talisman could not be used by two people at the same time, but now it was happening. All of these showed that the truth of the past had been subverted. Perhaps the origin force of the Greater Thousand Worlds had recognized a certain person, and that person was the child of the world. Such a person might really appear, Do-19 said. Do-19 said, it's just like Big Sister. In the past, no one could control the immortal slaying god exterminating gourd. This gourd was formed when the primordial chaos tree absorbed the strongest destructive power of the primordial chaos explosion. This gourd is different from any other connate spiritual treasure. It was born when the primordial chaos tree encountered a huge opportunity. With this gourd in hand, I fear no one. Even Wan Senshi can't do anything to me. This is my absolute secret, but the gourd's power hasn't reached its peak yet. There's still room for growth. If I can capture Gu Chunxia and seal him inside, the gourd will be able to transform and reach a whole new level. Do-Yu said, this Gu Chunxia hasn't comprehended the true transformations and power of the heavenly Tao arts. His cultivation isn't high enough, but I must seal him and feed him to the gourd. I hope Big Sis succeeds. Do 19 placed her hopes on Douyu. Meanwhile, Douyu's true body and Gu Chencha's true body had already landed in the old capital. The Celestial Calmness Bureau has done a good job governing the world. If not for the devil calamity, within 100 years, the population would have multiplied, or even multiplied tenfold. Then, they would have taken over the wildlands, the ocean, and the eastern wilderness. Douyu pointed at the old capital. The Yonko has created an unprecedented golden age. This foundation was built by Imperial Father, Gu Cherncha said. Gu Cherncha said, if it wasn't for Imperial Father sealing away the many true gods in the sky, as well as intimidating the immortal Tao, the demon race, and even the three great celestial venerables of the world, preventing them from acting rashly, I'm afraid that the world would have truly fallen. Even now, our Department of Calming Immortals is only producing the 3-piece human dragon set. The rest of the machinery has been handed over to the Celestial Designer Institute. In this regard, we won't compete with them. That's right. Right now, there are too many people in the world. It's impossible for everyone to obtain the human dragon set created by your Calming Immortal Department. If I'm not wrong, your Calming Immortal Department has created more than 3 billion human dragon pills, 30 million sets of human dragon armor, and human dragon sword. But Yonko has more than 10 billion citizens now, and the population is still growing. Of course, if you focus all your efforts on production, you'll be able to supply them. Do you need my help? Douyu smiled. Ha ha ha, Missiu, don't tell me you don't understand the way of governing a country? Gu Chensha said. A country is divided into different classes. If everyone has the 3-dragon suit, they'll lose their drive to advance. That's a bad thing. The whole country is like a human body. The feet are the feet and the head is the head. The head can't grow on the ground and the feet can't grow on the ground. Our Celestial Calmness Bureau's production of human dragon suits is based on the number of people in the world. It ensures a supply, but it doesn't overflow. It keeps the people in the world motivated. I'm sure you understand the way of governing a country. I can see that you've managed your minor 1,000 realms very well. Douyu was shocked. This person is hard to deal with. His understanding of the people's hearts is no small matter. He's even above me. If we were to compete in governing a country, I'd lose to him. It's not without reason that Gu Taxian chose this person. Although she was shocked, she said, "You're thinking too much. I have no intention of harming you. Of course, since we're working together, we should let down our guard." Gu Chensha said, "If we fight and scheme, we won't be able to kill Xing Qiongshi. Instead, we'll be killed." I agree. We need to work together sincerely. Douyu said, "I'd like to ask you a question. What's the secret behind the rebirth of the Dharma Saint?" The secret is very simple. I merely attached my heavenly law incarnation to Nalu God's true God throne. When the Dharma Saint condensed it, I stole his core comprehension. Gu Chensha said, "If Missiu wants to know, you can exchange it with something of equal value. How about it? I have a secret technique that the 3 heavenly venerables comprehended." Douyu said, "This secret technique is called the 3 realms transcendence technique. It's also a technique that helps saints break through their bottlenecks and reach the heavenly venerable realm. However, this technique isn't truly perfected. I've cultivated this technique and am very familiar with the heavenly venerable realm. However, I can't cultivate to the heavenly venerable realm. So, I want to exchange it with you and learn some secrets." 3 realms transcendence technique. When Gu Chensha heard this name, he knew that this technique was extraordinary. It had some wondrous ideas. This technique was like the Xing Qiongshi's mutated pill. They were both fantasies that wanted to reverse the heavens. Gu Chensha really wanted to see it. "Come, let's go to the place where I used to live. We'll talk there." Gu Chensha felt that he could dig out many good things from Douyu. However, this woman also wanted to obtain what she wanted from him. Chapter 652. Gu Chunxia hadn't been able to gain the slightest advantage in this exchange of words with Douyu. This was the most exhausting confrontation he had ever had. Douyu was indeed terrifying. Forget about everything else, she actually had fate with the immortal killing god punishing gourd, able to activate the gourd's power. Just talking about it, it was already enough to make Empyreans shrink back. If she really ascended to the heavenly lord realm, she would probably be much more powerful than the Dharma saint. Now, it seemed like she was telling the truth when she said that even Chang Weiyang wasn't a match for her. With the help of this gourd, she could shatter all things into primal chaos. Anyone below the Empyrean realm would definitely be killed. Even Empyreans would find it hard to escape death. This gourd was definitely number one in terms of destruction and killing. No one could compare to it. Even the current Hong Meng tree could not condense an identical gourd. This gourd was condensed by chance when the primordial chaos tree absorbed the destructive primordial energy of the primal chaos explosion. There was only one of it in the world. The gourd was ranked first among connate numinous treasures. Of course, apart from the prehistoric dragon gate, the heaven sacrificial talisman, and the primordial tree, these three were no longer treasures. Instead, they were some sort of the most powerful key to heaven and earth. In fact, Gu Chunxia really wanted to get his hands on this treasure of Douyu. If he could get his hands on the immortal slaying god punishing gourd, he was confident that with the help of the gourd's killing power, he could break through all kinds of taboos and slash through thousands of restraints, allowing him to break through to the next stage. In fact, he had obtained the memories of Jiang Gongwang, Chang Yuzhou the Dharma saint, and the other big shots. Therefore, he had a deep understanding of how to raise his cultivation and make breakthroughs step by step. Gu Chunxia engraved these people's profound understanding of breaking through to the next realm step by step from the time they were at their weakest. Then, he used his own understanding to calculate. Therefore, Gu Chunxia was not completely clueless about breaking through to the next realm. In fact, he was very familiar with it. He had simulated the state of breaking through countless times. He had a deep understanding of how to break through a divergent. Chang Weiyang had also done an exchange with him and passed on her experience to him. Of course, Chang Weiyang herself also benefited greatly. In her transactions with Calm Immortal Sector, her gains were great, she only profited and not lost anything. This was also the reason why she did not let go of the Calm Immortal department. Apart from this, she also wanted to borrow Gu Chenxia's heavenly Tao technique to revive Chang Yuzhou. If they could revive Chang Yuzhou, the overall strength of the Mystic Cosmos sect would rise to another level. In the future, there would be some hope of survival. So, the two figures landed in a courtyard at the corner of the imperial city. The weeds in the courtyard were already as tall as a person, and there were spider webs everywhere. There were also pheasants, foxes, badgers, rabbits, snakes, rats, ants, and other animals scurrying about in the grass. This place had not been repaired and had been abandoned for more than 10 years. Everywhere was a dilapidated and decadent scene. This was the courtyard that Gu Chunxia had lived in back then. Do 19 had come here to divine for a while, but to no avail. Now, he and Douyu had come here again. Let's discuss here. This is my old residence. Gu Chunxia looked at the dilapidated scene in the courtyard and shook his head slightly. With a wave of his hand, the weeds here disappeared. The animals in the weeds were sent to the forest outside. The entire courtyard was replaced by a clean and tidy one. The ground was made of jade, green and crystalline. It was simple and elegant. Even the bricks and tiles in the courtyard had changed into high-quality green jade. In an instant, the dilapidated courtyard had become an immortal's residence. The heavenly Tao technique is indeed powerful. It never retreats and turns mud, bricks, wood, and stones into jade. Although I can do this easily, it is only maintained by magic power. When I retract my magic power, I will still revert to my original form. Douyu's eyes brightened. And after you change, even if you retract your magic power, these things will still be fixed. This is the miraculous creation of the heavenly Tao. Sit. Gu Chensha pointed at the ground in the courtyard. Instantly, a green jade substance surged up and transformed into a table and chair. After he sat down, tea appeared out of nowhere. The tea leaves were colorful and dazzling. These tea leaves are grown in our world. Have a taste. What do you think about the taste? I'm not in the mood to drink tea. Douyu refused, allowing Gu Chensha to drink by himself. She knew that Gu Chensha was crafty and cunning. He could use ancient curses, and he had the support of a dimensional realm behind him. In addition to that, there was no telling what other crafty plots he had up his sleeve. Most importantly, Gu Chensha had obtained the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Who knew what strange things the sacrificial talisman had produced? Seeing Douyu refuse his tea, Gu Chensha relaxed. His tea leaves really did have some tricks up their sleeve. They were made from the leaves of the myriad immortal world's minor world tree, combined with his own insights, his cultivation of the heavenly Tao technique, and the power of a dimensional realm. All of these things were even more mysterious and unfathomable. They could mysteriously transfer destiny. His understanding of the heavenly sacrificial talisman even surpassed that of Wan Senshi. After all, he was someone who had obtained the heavenly sacrificial talisman, and now he could get half of the profit. It could be said that each tea leaf he gave Douyu was equivalent to a small heavenly sacrificial talisman. If Douyu drank it, even if she couldn't shake this person's destiny, she could at least learn many of her secrets through the feedback of the tea leaves. This could be considered a brazen test. Since Douyu didn't dare to accept it, Gu Chensha felt much more at ease. This showed that Douyu hadn't truly reached an unfathomable realm. If Douyu really did drink the tea as if nothing had happened, then Gu Chensha wouldn't even want to fight with her here. He would simply turn around and leave, waiting for his own breakthrough before he could come back for revenge. The fact that this woman could drink the tea without being affected meant that her cultivation base had truly surpassed Gu Chensha's imagination. Don't underestimate the small tea leaves that Gu Chensha had taken out. They were condensed from the essence of the celestial tranquility master's entire life, and could be considered Gu Chensha's strongest test. Before he knew it, Gu Chensha had already made his move. But Douyu didn't receive it. Of course, it was also possible that Douyu was deliberately showing weakness in order to give Gu Chensha a false impression. Miss Yu, it's a pity that you don't drink this tea. Gu Chensha took a sip himself. This tea is made from Wan Senshi's Tao-seeking diagram and the minor world tree. I've also obtained a lot of enlightenment, as well as the Tao of destiny. It also contains the fundamental mysteries of the heavenly sacrifice talisman. If an ordinary person drinks it, their destiny will greatly increase, and they can get rid of misfortune and increase their longevity. Of course, this is nothing to miss you. But don't you want to know my secret? All my secrets are contained in this cup of tea. Good move, Douyu said. If I had cultivated to the celestial master level, I naturally wouldn't care about this cup of tea of yours. But now I still have to be careful. Since you've made it so clear, I might as well say it directly. I'm not completely confident that I can deal with the celestial tranquility master, so this is the basis of our cooperation. Since neither of us can do anything to the other, our cooperation is equal. I've always been a person who prioritizes benefits above all else. Even if we're enemies, as long as there are benefits, we can cooperate. My proposal just now is to use the Three Realms Transcendence technique in exchange for the Dharma Saint's secret of resisting the heavenly Tao's call and being reborn. Are you willing? If you can't even agree to such a small cooperation, it would be a lack of sincerity. If you obtain the Three Realms Transcendence technique, it won't be very useful to you, but it will be very useful to Chang Weiyang. Chang Weiyang doesn't need the Three Realms Transcendence technique to ascend to the Celestial Master level. Gu Chunsha was very confident. His words were resolute and decisive. I think Misiu is worrying too much. If I didn't really have a way to ascend to the Celestial Master level, why would I make a deal with you? As he spoke, a golden token appeared in his hand. This golden token had the words, "Just as I came personally," written on it. It displayed a majestic might that could shake the heavens. Even the immortal slaying god punishing gourd, which could cut through everything and turn everything into primordial chaos, seemed a little lacking in confidence in front of this golden token. When Douyu saw this golden token, a complex expression appeared on his face. In truth, if it weren't for this golden token, the tranquil immortal department would have been attacked by many major powers. This golden token was their greatest trump card. It was even more terrifying than the immortal slaying god punishing gourd. Even the heavenly sacrifice talisman, the Your Wild's dragon gate, and the primordial mist tree couldn't compare to this mysterious golden token. Many of the old-timers were well aware of this. Then are you not willing to use the Dharma Saint's Heavenly Tao Resistance art to exchange for my Three Realms Transcendence technique? Douyu asked again. The golden token in Gu Chensha's hand disappeared. It seemed to be a projection. He clapped his hands and said, "Third sister, the Transcendence technique isn't very useful to me. We don't need it. I think the Dharma Saint's Heavenly Tao Resistance art can be exchanged for something else." Then what do you want? Douyu stared at Gu Chunsha as if he could see through him. I want the three Empyreans to perceive the primordial mist tree. Gu Chunsha bluntly said, "You should also know that I transformed a tiny blood-sucking demon vine seed into a seven-colored demon vine, the touch of God and ghost, the heavenly Fey tree, the tree of hope, and now the world tree. All of these things are based on perceiving the changes of the primordial mist tree. However, the primordial mist tree I understand comes from the memories of many masters. I haven't seen the primordial mist tree with my own eyes, nor do I understand its mysteries. The primordial mist tree doesn't exist in the same space-time dimension as us. I can use the abilities of a dimensional realm to go there, but I don't have enough time. Furthermore, the primordial Meng tree was very difficult to comprehend. Even if one were to see it, it would not be something that could be done in a day or two. The three Empyreans have been plotting against the primordial mist tree for many years, and their comprehension of the tree is no trifling matter. I fear that their comprehension far surpasses that of any giant. If I can obtain these comprehensions, my world tree will take another step forward and my cultivation will also reach the peak. Misiu, what do you think? Chapter 653. Gu Chunsha immediately grasped the crux of the matter. The most important thing right now was the secret of the Grand Mist Tree. If he could obtain it, then Gu Chunsha could push the world tree to new heights and undergo the strongest transformation. This would increase the dimensional realm's strength, stabilize its accumulations, and enrich its background. The strength he could display would also become increasingly formidable. This was currently the safest method and also the best way to obtain the greatest benefit. Good idea. Your idea is quite good. Douyu thought for a long time before slowly saying, "It seems your wisdom isn't much worse than Zhugeya's. No wonder you were able to manage the calming immortal department to such a massive scale. In just a few years, you were able to contend with Empyrean-level giant. That is equal to 100,000 years of savings. However, the three Empyreans have comprehended the essence of the Grand Mist Tree to an extremely profound level. If you want to use the Dharma Saint's method to resist the Heavenly Tao to exchange for the Grand Mist Tree's secret, that is simply impossible. Unless you add something else? What do you want to add?" Gu Chunsha also knew that the Dharma Saint's experience was something he had casually obtained. As for the Grand Mist Tree's experience, it was something that the three Empyreans had poured their blood, sweat, and tears into. The three Empyreans even wanted to capture the Grand Mist Tree. In these past years, they had been scheming for the many natural spirit treasures on the Grand Mist Tree and had personally plucked many of them. Even the clear turbid axe was something they had recently obtained. How about the release bow and the constant and impermanent arrows? Doyu smiled. This magic tool can be used for an equivalent exchange. This treasure is no good. Gu Chunsha waved his hand. This treasure is related to the supreme secrets of the Buddhist sect. Perhaps it is the key to opening the Buddhist sect's treasury. During my cultivation, the heavenly Tao arts have already seeped into this treasure. This treasure has fused with my mind and soul, and I need to refine it until it becomes a part of my body. If I were to exchange it, it would completely disrupt my cultivation plans. Even if I obtained the Grand Mist Tree's secret, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. I'm not afraid of telling you this. That's not good. Right now, the only thing that is valuable to you is this treasure. Doyu said, besides that, there isn't anything else in the calming immortal department that I want. The dimensional realm's common people's wish sphere is the foundation. As for the sovereign ruler's gold medal, I wouldn't dare to take it. As for the rest, there are no other treasures that are worth my attention. How about this? I'll help you condense this immortal slaying god punishing gourd and use the heavenly Tao to feed it. Then, I'll teach you the secret technique of the Dharma Saint. Gu Chunsha said, I think your immortal slaying god punishing gourd also needs to be able to unleash the full power of my heavenly law dharmic dish. That's a good idea. However, your body already contains the killing intent of the immortal slaying god slaying flying dagger. If you were to insert the heavenly Tao technique into the gourd, you would be able to see through the secrets within. This would be a form of help to you. How could Doyu not understand what Gu Chunsha was thinking? Looks like it won't be easy for us to cooperate. Both sides have their own concerns. Gu Chunsha shook his head. If we cooperate, we won't be so close. My cooperation with Chang Weiyang, Tai Xuandu, and the others is much simpler. In truth, if you and I cooperate wholeheartedly, we can both make massive progress. I'm sure you know this. Didn't you just say that even if we are enemies, as long as there are benefits, we can cooperate? In truth, as long as you cultivate to the Empyrean realm, you can freely roam the heavens and the earth. You can completely break free from your shackles. This is something that only you and I can do. How about this? Let's be open and honest. We can cultivate together and exchange our experiences. How about that? If we want to exchange our experiences, then we can only obtain them by fighting. How about we fight in the turbulent flows of space and time? Doyu said. In a fight, we can naturally obtain our own secrets and cultivation. I'm not your match unless I use the strength of my dimensional realm. But that would be meaningless. Gu Chunsha waved his hand dismissively. Our calming immortal department's dimensional realm has only just formed, so our accumulated strength is still shallow. To waste the strength we have accumulated in unnecessary battles is just too wasteful. If it were any other master, even if it were a saint, then Gu Chunsha could use the strength of his dimensional realm to directly suppress them. But against Doyu, he didn't have full confidence. If he fought with Doyu, he would likely consume a massive amount of strength. If his opponent didn't have the immortal slaying god executing gourd, then he could suppress him. But with the gourd and the human treasure, it would be extremely difficult. Without absolute confidence in victory, Gu Chunsha didn't want to take any risks, nor did he want to waste his strength. As for Gu Chunsha himself, he simply wasn't a match for Doyu. Unless he cultivated to the god realm, it was impossible for him to resist at all. Even if Doyu didn't use the immortal slaying god executing gourd strength, he would still be able to toy with him in the palm of his hand. It had to be known that even if Douyu didn't have the gourd, he would still be number one amongst the countless outstanding disciples of the three Empyreans. How many experts did the three Empyreans have under them? Gu Qinsha knew in his heart. Out of so many amazing people, to be able to be number one meant that he was even more terrifying than the heaven and earth sect leader. How about this? I will use a small incarnation to mimic Tao Realm 26 cultivation to fight with you. It will be in this small courtyard. As he spoke, Douyu's body moved and a barrier enveloped the small courtyard. I've already used a primordial barrier to envelop this place. Even if saints were to fight each other, none of their powers would leak out. I'm very curious as to how powerful your cultivation base is. Shortly after, another Douyu appeared in front of Gu Qinsha. As expected, this Douyu was at Tao Realm 26, the 10,000 techniques back to one realm. Douyu's incarnation said, "Now we are at the same realm and I won't use any treasures. I just rely on the use of strength and spells. Logically speaking, this incarnation of mine shouldn't be your match. At the same realm, the Heaven Path technique is invincible. But I want to try." "That is possible." Gu Qinsha looked at Douyu's avatar and said, "It's best to have a spar like this and get to know each other better. However, if Miss Yu can't win, you can raise the level of your avatar. Because my body has completely refined the all-encompassing obliteration stick, this stick also contains the ability to obliterate all-encompassing obliteration stick. Therefore, although I haven't reached the seamless realm, I can actually tear the void apart." "It is okay, go all out," Douyu said. "Okay." Gu Qinsha's body flashed and his fist arrived in front of Douyu's incarnation. Douyu nodded her head, "Not bad." She raised her palm, and a surge of magic power condensed into a spiral spike. Suddenly, it pierced out and faced Gu Qinsha's fist. The moment the two of them clashed, Gu Qinsha felt that her technique had pushed her spell to the extreme. It was totally out of his expectations. Now, Douyu's spell quality was True Dragon Technique Grade 5, the same as common people general, but the method she used exceeded the limits of certain theories. The changes were really subtle. With one stab, even his spell couldn't block it and it was about to be pierced through. Break. Gu Qinsha's fist shook and he had already used the secret of the common people heaven mending technique. With one move, Douyu's incarnation totally collapsed and turned into dust. "Good, as expected, my 26 transformations spell incarnation isn't your match. Even if I use the heaven which 36 hearts, I still can't do anything to you. The 36 hearts are an ancient witchcraft fist technique. They are split into anger, sadness, resentment, love, endurance, thought, evil, kindness, intent, punishment, fear, thought, worry, etc. This technique has been lost for a long time. Once it is used, it doesn't attack spell but the heart. Just now, I used the mind needle and you were actually able to casually destroy it. This is the common people heaven mending technique, a Tao that you comprehend on your own. As expected, it is amazing." Douyu formed another incarnation. This incarnation's strength actually increased by a realm, reaching the 27 transformations 2 worlds seamless realm. This is the top technique of the heaven which 36 hearts? Rumor has it that the strongest martial art of heaven shaman is the 36 hearts. Basically, it encompasses all the important emotions within it. If the 36 hearts martial art is gathered, it will be able to unleash its greatest power. It's almost as if all living beings are united. Gu Qinsha said, "I've seen the Rage Fist and the Grief Fist. The Rage Fist represents the slave heart, while the Grief Fist represents the false heart. Legend has it that after the ancient witchcraft was destroyed, the 36 hearts fist technique was lost. Now, at most, only 10 hearts can be found. Could it be that you've learned all 36 hearts martial arts? If all 36 hearts are gathered, Even if the ancient emperor mastered the sun and moon shine together, he wouldn't be his match. Only when all 36 hearts are gathered can they be broken. However, no one in the ancient witchcraft can use the 36 hearts fist technique, not even Xing Qiongshi. Xing Qiongshi knows ancient witchcraft, but he isn't from the witchcraft. He also didn't learn the 36 hearts fist technique. Rumor has it that the 36 hearts fist technique is hidden within the sorcerer ancestor's bone plate. Now, it's in the hands of the great spirit god. The sorcerer ancestor has been completely devoured by the great spirit god. The great spirit god might use the sorcerer ancestor's bone plate to find the lost 36 hearts fist technique. Once he masters it, he'll be even more terrifying than Wan Senshi. Douyu said, I only know the 13 hearts fist technique. I haven't learned anything else. The 3 celestial venerables have been trying to find all of them, but unfortunately, they've fallen into the hands of the great spirit god. It looks like there's no hope. If I remember correctly, the great spirit god is your mortal enemy. The hatred between us can be resolved. You just screwed over my brother once. That's nothing. The great spirit god killed your mother. You know quite a bit. Gu Chunsha could tell something from the previous attack. However, Douyu hadn't shown his true abilities yet. He was using the ancient witchcraft. The ancient witchcraft was powerful, but Gu Chunsha wanted to see Douyu's own Tao. Only with Douyu's own Tao could he see the core of it. Only with Douyu's own Tao could Gu Chunsha use the heavenly Tao to see all of his memories. Chapter 654. Take this. Douyu's incarnation was at Tao Realm 27 transformation, 2 worlds seamless. It could rip open space and teleport and jump through space. Even if she was unparalleled in battle and had many methods, but at the same realm, she was still not Gu Chensha's match. That all techniques returned to one realm was still destroyed by one punch from Gu Chensha. She had no choice. To probe Gu Chensha's secret, she could only raise this incarnation by one realm. Now I will use my 7 hearts. At that moment, Douyu used the Rage Fist, Sadness Fist, Evil Fist, Worry Fist, Grievance Fist, Terror Fist, and Ninja Fist. This extreme ancient witchcraft fist had exceeded the changes in power and the shaking of space. It was all activated by one's heart. The stronger one's heart was, the stronger one's strength was. Where the Tao was, one's heart was. When one was filled with killing intent, the ground would flip. This fist was several times stronger than the drill from before. With the 7 hearts merged into one fist, the strength wasn't as simple as 7 times. The highest fist technique of ancient witchcraft, the 36 heart fists, transcended the realm of magic power. It was not the power of the world, but the heart of all living beings. It was different from the path of Buddhism, the path of the devil, and even the path of the Son of Heaven. In the demon path, it was said that the strongest was the primordial heart demon. It was placed deep within the hearts of all beings, and as long as they weren't wiped out, the heart demon wouldn't be destroyed. This ancient witchcraft 36 heart fist, if one cultivated it to the highest realm, 36 hearts into one could reach such a realm too. Gu Chunsha had seen the Rage Fist and Sadness Fist before. The Rage Fist was passed down to the 10th Prince Gu Chunsha by Mr. Feng. The 10th Prince cultivated it, but the effects were minimal and he didn't get much out of it. The secret of this fist was to do everything in rage. The angrier one was, the stronger the fist technique would be. It had already exceeded the realm of using power. The sorrowful fist was the ultimate art of the great eunuch Wang Bei. He was the patriarch of the everlasting hatred demon sect, one of the 36 demon sects of the demonic path. The most precious technique of this demon sect was the sorrowful fist, and he was also a divine-level expert. This person had now become Gu Huansha's right-hand man and was completely obedient to the immortal master. Naturally, this wasn't considered a rebellion. A long time ago, Wang Bei was already a subordinate of the Immortal Lord. Now, he was also under the orders of the Heavenly Talisman Great Emperor. Gu Huansha was also the daughter of the Heavenly Talisman Great Emperor. This was also equivalent to loyalty to the royal family. It was just that he wasn't loyal to the calming immortal department. From an outsider's point of view, even if there was a conflict between Gu Chencha's Department of Tranquility and Gu Huansha's Celestial Designer Institute, it was an internal matter of the Gu family. Regardless of whose hands the emperor ended up in, it would still be the Yonko and the Gu clan's world. Douyu's fist arrived in front of Gu Chensha. Raging waves, 7 hearts harmony. In an instant, the rage fist, sorrow fist, evil fist, worry fist, resentment fist, terror fist, and ninja fist ignored all defenses and killed their way into Gu Chencha's heart. At this moment, Douyu's body was at the 27th transformation of the Tao realm, Seamless Two Worlds. When he activated it, he had the ability to tear apart space. Along with Douyu's unparalleled battle techniques, once he activated it, he was pretty much invincible in the same realm. Pung! Gu Chensha also punched out. There was nothing fancy about it, it was as slow as a tortoise, clumsy and laughable. However, there was an eternal intent of a foolish old man moving mountains within it. When the two fists clashed, Douyu's Seamless Two Worlds clone shattered and exploded once more. Miss you think you can defeat me with a mere cultivation level of 27 changes? You're underestimating me. You'd better increase your cultivation level. Besides, there's no need to use the 36 Fists of Heart. It's incomplete and doesn't suit you. You should use your own Tao. After Gu Chencha's fist crushed Douyu's clone, he said once more, I think that if you want to force out my potential, then you have to raise this clone to God Realm, Tao Realm 30 Transformation, World Creation Realm. Then, you can use the power of the world to suppress me. This is because even if you raise to the 29th transformation and comprehend the Chaos Realm, you are still using power and you can't do anything to me. Very good, it seems like your cultivation has reached a peak. Since that is the case, then I won't waste any more energy. I will directly raise my realm to God Realm. Douyu nodded his head. In the blink of an eye, her clone's cultivation base skyrocketed. From the 27th transformation to the 28th, 29th, and then finally to the 30th transformation, World Creation Realm before it stopped. You have to think carefully. Now, I won't use the 36 Heart Fist. Instead, I will use my own Tao. Rise and fall, a feather in the sky, riding the wind in the 9 heavens, carefree in the world. At that moment, Douyu's aura changed. Gu Chensha seemed to be able to see a feather casually floating in the air amidst numerous waves. It could do anything and was always carefree. Then, heaven and earth shattered and a calamity rumbled. Everything was destroyed, the sun and moon sunk, time twisted, and yin and yang were in chaos. But that feather still rode the wind, carefree and independent of the world. It didn't belong to any heaven and earth, it didn't merge with anything. It was absolutely independent and it monopolized everything. At that moment, Douyu seemed to be indestructible and didn't belong to anything in the world. He just looked on coldly from the side. This kind of independent temperament, and the feeling of not being affected by all tribulations, made Gu Chensha feel like a true hermit expert. The carefree immortal Tao, the naivety of the great Tao, and the freedom that all people dreamed of. A feather in the air caused tribulations to ripple, drifting casually and independent. Douyu's Tao was true independence. She didn't rely on any power, didn't rely on the world, didn't rely on the heavenly Tao, and didn't even rely on fate or tribulations. She did things her own way, and didn't care about anything. This was an emotionless Tao, a Tao of liberation, a Tao of freedom, and a Tao of lightness. This was Douyu's true ability. This was also why she was number 1 among the 3 celestial sovereigns in magical combat. Amazing! With this, even if Douyu doesn't have any miraculous encounters, she can still become a celestial sovereign in the future. Gu Chunxia suddenly felt like time was passing infinitely, or perhaps infinitely stopping somewhere. The future had all disappeared, as if life had been eternally fixed at a certain moment. The universe had disappeared, and all that was left was Douyu floating over, as if she could point to the one and only. In the depths of his heart, he actually couldn't form any thoughts of resisting. This was because Douyu didn't make a move. Although it seemed as if Douyu's fist was an attack, the truth was that she was displaying her own Tao, and was interrogating Gu Chunxia. If Gu Chunxia didn't resist, then he would be assimilated by this Tao. Once he failed, he would become a worshipper of Douyu, and it would be difficult for him to progress any further. In almost an instant, Gu Chunxia was about to be lost within. But Gu Chunxia seemed to have already expected this. His thoughts began to change. He didn't use the power of a dimensional realm. Instead, his entire body fiercely shook. Then, a tyrannical and magnificent majesty swept out, as if it could sweep through the world. This majesty was like the supreme might of the heavenly talisman Great Emperor, like the overlord of the heavenly Tao. Because of this, Douyu was like a freak that wanted to jump out of his control. Heavenly Tao transformation, talisman fusion. Behold my heavenly talisman transformation. At this time, Gu Chencha's entire body had already disappeared. Instead, he had transformed into a talisman. This talisman was the color of sky blue. 4 ancient words appeared on it: receive the mandate of heaven. This was the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Gu Chunxia had actually transformed himself to the limit, turning into the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Chapter 655. Previously, when Gu Chunxia refined the all-mammoth shattering cudgel, he had obtained the source of power. He had even almost deduced the location of the God of Might's true God position from the remnant information in the cudgel. If his realm increased again, he would be able to truly know where the God of Might's true God position was. Then, he could set up an altar to summon the God of Might and obtain it. A true God position was extremely important to any sect. It was almost comparable to a sect's most precious treasure. Even the current Calmness Department didn't have a true God position. However, although he refined the all-mammoth shattering cudgel, he didn't refine the bow of liberation and the arrows of permanence and impermanence. Compared to the all-mammoth shattering cudgel, the bow of liberation and the arrows of permanence and impermanence were much more powerful. They contained the supreme essence of Buddhism and were the origin of Buddhism. They might even be the key to opening the Buddhist Permitha Golden Mountain. Gu Chunxia used Douyu's power to refine the bow and arrow. The bow and arrow turned into a small, Fu character that kept swimming around his body, giving him endless power. It was like a carriage with only one horse being added to it. Naturally, it was full of power and was light and nimble. After refining the bow of liberation and the arrows of permanence and impermanence, his spiritual sense skyrocketed. He actually peeked into some of the mysteries of Douyu's primordial tree. Of course, he couldn't peek into it completely. However, just by peeking into it, he benefited greatly. If he carefully comprehended it, not only would he be able to improve the world tree, but he would also be able to make a breakthrough in his realm. He would reach the crucial step of the 27 transformations, the seamless 2 realms. After refining the bow of liberation and the arrows of permanence and impermanence, Gu Chencha's cultivation doubled. He shook the air again and broke Douyu's incarnation. What a guy! Douyu withdrew his incarnation, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. You can actually transform into the heavenly sacrificial talisman. More importantly, this talisman is extremely similar and has the power to command the heavens. It forced me to use the primordial tree's transformation to resist it. Very good. You cunning kid. Did you obtain part of the primordial tree's secrets from me? Same here. Gu Chunsha said, you've also learned a lot of secrets from me. If my guess is correct, you did it on purpose just now. While I was refining the dissolving bow and the arrows of permanence and impermanence, you used a mysterious force to place some kind of restriction on the bow. You even sensed this? Do Yu's expression turned serious. Since that's the case, it's obvious that you've already dispelled the seal. It seems that I've underestimated you. That's how our cooperation is. You get benefits and I get benefits, right? Moreover, the mysteries of the Hong Meng tree that you activated just now are nothing compared to the mysteries of the Hong Meng tree that the three heavenly masters have grasped. For me, it's just some trivial essence that I've comprehended. How could Gu Chunsha not know what Doyu was thinking? Although this woman was surprised on the surface, the truth was that she had everything under control. If he didn't use the power of his dimensional realm, then he would still be at a disadvantage in a battle of wits and courage. Your cultivation is at the 26 transformations of the Tao realm, 10,000 techniques returned to 1, and yet you were able to defeat me. You've already reached the 31 transformations of void creation. Such strength is simply unheard of. It can be said that at the same realm, this incarnation of mine can easily defeat 4 or 5 31 transformations gods. In other words, your current combat strength is equivalent to 6 or 7 31 transformations gods. Do Yu was estimating Gu Chensha's combat strength. I don't care about combat strength, Gu Chunsha said. Since ancient times, battle prowess has always been depleted, but production prowess has always been endless. The reason why divine-level experts are divine-level experts is because they possess the world's power. If they develop the human race and manage the empire, the production prowess will be extremely tremendous. This is the crux. Your foresight is quite accurate. Do Yu could already tell that Gu Chunsha had a profound understanding of cultivation. He had already planned out his future path step by step and was unshakable. He had already planned out his path and firmly believed in it without the slightest doubt. It was as pure as a void crystal sparkling with light. It was extremely terrifying. Do Yu had never seen someone so determined and pure about their future cultivation. In her opinion, Gu Chunsha had already planned out his future cultivation. It was just like bending over to pick up stones, bending his waist with every step he took. Even she herself was unable to break through to the heavenly master realm. Sometimes she would doubt her own perseverance towards her future cultivation. But Gu Chunsha didn't doubt it at all. This was terrifying. If there is a chance, I must cut this child down. Do Yu truly wanted to kill him. We cannot allow him to grow any further. Right now, this child has 2 explosive points. The first is that he can reach the 27 transformations at any time. That is a massive breakthrough, and once he breaks through, his combat strength will increase by a great deal. The second is that he can perceive a divergent at any time. Once he does, he can use the mind of a divergent to control the heavenly Tao laws. That is truly terrifying. Do Yu completely understood what Gu Chunsha was like. This person's reserves were vast and his will didn't have the slightest doubt. He was unprecedentedly firm, and with the help of a dimensional realm, as long as he meditated a little, his boundary would rise steadily until he reached the god level. Do Yu didn't dare to cooperate with this child any longer. This was because once Gu Chunsha understood her secrets and knowledge, he would reach a critical point and suddenly explode. But she also wanted to find a chance to kill Gu Chunsha during this entanglement and use the immortal slaying god punishing gourd to feed it. Only then would she be truly satisfied. To Do Yu, Gu Chen was someone with limitless potential and also a huge treasure. She definitely wasn't willing to give up. This girl wants to kill me, and it seems like she is preparing to kill me. Gu Chensha was really observant and had a clear grasp of the future. It was like billions of future changes were all within his grasp. He knew that he had defeated Do Yu's incarnation, and that made her feel really threatened. He was only at the 26th transformation, 10,000 techniques returned to 1. If he advanced to the 27th, 28th, or even 29th, then what would Do Yu do? Gu Chensha knew that the last 3 changes weren't any bottlenecks for him. The only thing was that advancing to the God realm would be a huge obstacle and a bottleneck that was tough to break. However, even if he didn't advance to the God realm, as long as he reached the 29th transformation and comprehended the Chaos realm, it would be tough for Do Yu to kill him. Each of the changes after the Tao realm had a special ability. The 27th world, seamless tearing space, allowed one to teleport and jump. The 28th transformation, vacuum crushing, used unparalleled magic to crush the void, extract the power of vacuum, and then condense it. It was like metal being extracted from dirt. When one reached this realm, one could create small artifacts like space rings. Of course, that was just space and couldn't be compared to a world. Although the world of a God realm expert was called a speck of dust, it was actually really huge. Within, the 4 seasons rotated, time changed, sun and moon cycled. The land was rich, and it was totally independent. Meanwhile, this small space was deathly still. It could only store items, not allow creatures to live within. The level of space was worlds apart from that of a world. Even so, space-type magic treasures were in short supply among the rich and powerful families. However, space magic treasures created by Tao Realm 28 transformations, shattering vacuum, were very unstable and could be destroyed at any moment. Once they were destroyed, the items stored within would be crushed into powder by the power of space, and all living beings would die instantly. Only when one reached the 29th transformation and comprehended the Chaos realm could one use such intent and borrow the comprehension of the chaos to stabilize the space. At that time, an expert who comprehended the Chaos realm was just a step away from the God realm. The space he created already had the shape of a world. Miss EU, you can continue to fight with me. I crushed your 31st transformation void creation realm incarnation, and you can raise it to the 32nd transformation, one thought connecting to heaven. This realm is really different, and you have touched the saint realm, the peak of the God realm. I still want to fight. After Gu Chensha refined the release bow and constant and impermanence arrows, his body felt really comfortable. His body continued to spin and his strength sped up. It was as if thousands of rivers were spinning. He was able to use the 26th transformation realm to destroy the 31st transformation Do Yu's incarnation. This was a shocking achievement. Logically speaking, a 26th transformation realm cultivator facing a 31st transformation God realm expert would be wiped out with just a breath. There was a gap of 5 realms. Of course, this was the result of Gu Chensha's Heaven Path technique merging with the Wanxiang Shattering Rod, the Release Bow, and the Constant and Impermanence arrows. Be it the rod or the bow, they were all really rare treasures. Not to mention the Release Bow and the Constant and Impermanence arrows, even the Wanxiang Shattering Rod was a weapon that the ancient god of strength had used to sweep through many worlds and kill many strong existences. With these 2 treasures, he was invincible and didn't need to fear any God realm expert. You are using me to cultivate. Do Yu waved his hands. Moreover, I have roughly estimated your current strength. There is no point in testing you. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.